Media transmissions from Earth have polluted the Milky Way galaxy with completely unwatchable content. Fearing these signals will spread beyond our galaxy, Captain S and the 01 Legion have headed to Earth to destroy the source of this woke mind virus.
Folks, someday Disney is going to have to admit that Star Wars is a dead brand. Unfortunately, this week isn't going to be it.
If only there was someone who wrote an article 6 years ago saying Star Wars was already a dead brand.
Why did they think babysitting was the solution to everything?
That's the what do you call it? Like the main narrative trope nowadays is sad dads with annoying kids who are great at everything. You know, you've got Grogu, you've got Ellie, you've got everybody over in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's just, I mean, are we surprised that Disney is this desperate that they're making this sort of a play? I'm absolutely not.
No. I also just wanted to take a moment to say that even though I made Cider's intro, I'm now jealous because he easily has like the best intro out of all three of us now. It's just
dude, it absolutely like kicks ass to the point where I'm like, I want to see it like all the time. Yeah, I just had to make it, and he made like the best one hands down.
Yeah.
But yes, guys, everybody out there, welcome. It's another Wednesday, and it's another episode of the 01 stream here at Bounding Into Comics. My name is Spencer Bakuli. I am your host and editor-in-chief, and like I said, I'd like to welcome you to our show. We have a big show tonight. We've had a lot of Disney news. We have Star Wars to talk about. We have Marvel to talk about. We have a really good piece by Jacob that we're going to get into about the overall anti-male messaging of Hollywood. So it is going to be big. It's going to be huge tonight. It's going to be huge. So I'm glad you're all here. Of course, as always, I'm joined by two of my good friends, two of the best dudes I know. I have Jacob over of Society Reviews and our good friend Cider Hype of Cider Hypeness. How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm still alive.
I was doing fine, and then I showed up here, and I'm sad now. But I was okay for a while.
I have something that'll lift your mood, though. Well,
Oh,
RJ McReady does. He comes to us with great news that 25 years ago today, Sopranos first aired. That's a quarter century of Gabagool.
Gabagool.
Hey, that theme song still slaps to this day. I don't care what anyone you ask.
Oh yeah,
Oh, no,
most
you
of
haven't
that
heard
show
the
is
remix.
still incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Did either of you guys see the movie that came out like 2 years ago? Right, like the prequel?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It technically was a prequel. It was one that came out in movie theaters. I can't remember the name of it. I know,
right? Like I just know it's something.
It's like something of Beartown or something like that.
No, you don't know. You don't know the glory of this.
Oh boy, here we go.
Oh, is this a Steven Seagal beat?
got some gabagool. And then I woke up the next day and got some gabagool. Keep waking up, keep getting different types of gabagool. I even got some gabagool from Scooby-Doo.
Whoa, first we've got cars at border terminal or at terminals, and then we've got plane cockpits. What are they trying to
Then I
say
woke
here?
up the next day and got some gabagool. Keep waking up, keep getting different types of gabagool.
Maybe that's why he's dead.
Even got some gabagool from
If your diet is gabagool on gabagool, you're probably not making it past like 30.
Got some gabagool.
Gabagool
Then
and
I woke up the
cigars.
next day and got some gabagool. Keep waking up, keep getting different types of gabagool.
Man, it's
Even
I
got
always
some
like
gabagool from
I never can remember what like gabagool actually ever is. It's just like
it's
meat,
just
right?
roast
Like
beef and provolone, dude. Like,
yeah, that's
kinda
what I thought.
roasted
It's
together.
just like
Yeah.
what do you call it? Like a charcuterie board, but just like
Yeah.
those two offerings.
I don't know about charcuterie board. It's kind of it's Italian, okay? It's
I mean,
gabagool.
it's an Italian charcuterie board, which is 2 items. It's a deconstructed sandwich. They can't afford the bread.
So now, though, the problem you're going to have is the next time that you hear the Sopranos theme song start up, you're going to expect that guy to say, woke up this morning, got some
Got some
gabagool.
gabagool.
Not the other way around. Not the actual theme song.
No, Cider's right, because I've heard that remix before, and I definitely like it's all I hear now when I hear the opening theme. Every time people on Twitter are like, "Oh, this show was so good. Here's the theme." I'm just like, "Gabagool time. Give me that gotta get me some gabagool." But yes, it's like stuck in my head, and it's all I want to do. I just want to spend the next like hour singing gabagool.
Yep.
Let's see. Turning back to the chat away from my gabagool obsession. Let's see. We have the eccentric banana stopping by saying, I haven't seen Echo yet, but I heard it's terrible. Oh yeah, it is apparently like just trash. Like there's no funny way to say it. Like it's apparently really big trash. We will get into it. And just as a side note at the top of the show, and we'll remind you later, but I don't think none of us have watched Echo yet, but we are planning on doing, or at least Jacob over there is planning on doing a very exclusive watch live stream episode of the Barroom podcast next week, which I will be on. I think Cider might be on, but we're all going to be there. We're all going to talk about it. That's where your main discussion will happen. So
yeah, it's going to be a 2-hour review of every episode of Echo this coming Tuesday. So
The
yeah,
2 hours
5
per
episodes.
episode?
5 episodes.
Just
10 hours, Jacob? That's what you're going to do to us?
I could if I would, but not.
He already did that to me. He made me go through She-Hulk. I had to sit and watch every episode of She-Hulk to like help him.
First of all, no one forced you to watch every episode of She-Hulk. You know, he's trying to use that as an excuse. It's like, oh, I had to edit your articles. And you made me watch the show. It's like no one actually did that.
You can't handle the truth.
Look, if it weren't for you're right. I was only tuning into the show for Nikki like that, but I need a cooler excuse to make it.
I will say this though, like I've done like many like reviews of like movies and stuff like that, and worked with other editors where I've trashed a movie so bad that I've had editors come back to me. It's like, there's no way this movie is this bad. It's like, have you seen the movie? No. Then write the damn article. That's like I've told them, like straight up. Like people think I'm exaggerating when I'm telling you like how awful like some of these shows and movies are.
No, like that's what I know from having like edited your reviews for so long and watched your reviews for so long is like you are pretty fair to things. So when something is like that disastrous and you hit on it, it's true. Like I still, again, I know I bring it up all the time, but your Scream review of 6, 5, whatever the hell it was. 5 and 6, both of them. I was like, yeah, I know they're going to be bad, but are they this awful? And then I was like, oh man, I can't believe they are this awful. So yeah, when Jacob has the right opinion, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I'm not leading anyone astray here.
No, oh God, no, not you. Like I don't think you're the last person I would ever assume to like say something that you didn't mean to get somebody to do something, unless you were saying something like, oh, Echo's the best show ever. Everybody should go watch it just to make all of our days terrible. Let's see. We have We have YouTube me stopping in from saying Star Wars is no longer a brand. It is a money laundering operation for a fistful of people or group of people as a last minute handout to ideological peers of the current leadership. I think, okay, I think
wrong.
You're not wrong, but I also think like there's like 7 different threads there that you're right about all of them for. Like it is no longer a brand. Pretty much all of entertainment is a money laundering operation at this point. Yes, for a fistful of people, and it's all used as like ideological favors, like you always see in the like politics shows or whatever. Like if you get me elected, I'll give you a kickback. Like that's essentially what all these roles and jobs are nowadays, right? Because we're clearly not getting like, we're not picking people based on their talent or like whether they care about the franchise or what they can, if they have an exciting vision. Because I got into a discussion with a couple people in our sphere recently, like for example, Jonas, Pro, Lou, basically the crew over at That Park Place. And Jonas and I kind of came to the same conclusion that when it comes to Charmin Obad Chinoy, or however you say her full name, when her work as a documentarian, and I mentioned this last week, is like, it's really good. Like she's actually attacking real problems, acid attacks, beatings, not, oh, my boyfriend was playing PlayStation for 5 minutes longer than I asked him to, yada, 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 whatever. Right. But that doesn't necessarily translate. That doesn't mean you're good for Star Wars. And given the ideological bent of everything she does and her rhetoric, it just seems that now it's not even like the brand. Like, what am I trying to say here? Star Wars is a brand that they sort of wield as like this is what I'm gonna say here is probably super out of left field, and I want both of you to like help rein it in, because I think I'm on something, but I don't know how to properly say it. But like at this point, Star Wars is almost like their like governing body, like their church body. You know what I mean? Like everything in Star Wars, that's our big representative. We have to make everything that. And
what has happened? They've spent the last 10 years essentially hijacking the fan base to the point where it's literally nearly almost them left. So there's nobody else to really like alienate anymore. Like you've closed off all the exits and now you're only there. So if this thing continues to fail now, it's only going to look bad on you, because this has been your pet project for the last 10 years and it's bared nothing but rotten fruits ever since.
Well, we can also see them, and this is sort of leaning into our one of our main topics, or running against it, but sort of oh gosh, what was I going to say? Like, all the fans are gone, and nobody's tuning in. We saw that Ahsoka had way smaller numbers than they actually had wanted. It's like sub-million or whatever, which is disastrous for a Disney Plus show. But now they're going, oh, we're desperate. What do we do? Look at all the moves they made, like in let's say the last month, right? Like you had Obaid Chinoy, so put her front and center, get all of our feminist, woke people on our side. Then you put forward a Mandalorian movie, and you can go, oh yay, everybody, that's got normie appeal, so people will go see a Mandalorian movie, and of course, Baby Yoda is gonna sell merch or whatever. And then you had the Ahsoka season 2 announcement, which was, I guess, like giving something to the Filoni fans. So they're already in the holy crap, we need to like super appeal to who we have left. Otherwise, we're not going to, like, we're done. But at this point, it's just like I said at the top, like, just admit it's over. Who gets excited? Who get out there, who here on the panel, in the chat, in our lives? Like, I don't remember the last time even a normie person was like, oh, I'm excited about the next Star Wars project. Like, it doesn't, that, the name is so destroyed.
If anything, we've been telling people for literally the last 5 or 6 years, no, this is over. Like, this, like, there is nothing left to get excited for. Like, it's done.
Yeah, like a certain guy over on his website said that. Let's see, what's the website say right here? It says, oh yeah, 2018, right there. Look at that. Look at that.
Is it already over for Disney Star Wars? I wrote this like literally 2 weeks after The Last Jedi. Yep. No, it actually says 6 weeks on there. So this is like a month after The Last Jedi. I asked this question: are we in trouble here? So if a schmuck like me could have figured out that Disney was in trouble back in 2018, clearly they have to have been at least one Disney executive who was at least asking the question in the back of his head here. But I mean, this was I even wrote this I think before like Han Solo flopped. That's
let's see. I think that has to have been because that was what 2018. Solo's like 2019. I don't know. I was just looking at it earlier. Let's look at that. Solo, a Star Wars dump, came out in 2018. So you probably wrote it like literally right after that came out.
Yep.
But yes, as Cider brought up here, I guess, yeah, let's just leap into it since we already are on the topic. But this week we saw some moves out of Lucasfilm regarding Star Wars. Specifically, we got confirmation of, so this has been like a weird, confusing news bit. I guess I described it so we all know that Dave Filoni had a Mandoverse movie coming. And I thought it was this one that he's doing with Jon Favreau because they've talked about it a lot. But then I guess Disney has given him a separate other one because they're acting, some of the wording in their press releases sound like he has his own thing coming. It's really weird. But essentially, we got confirmation this week that not only are we getting a Mandalorian, or did we get the title of the Mandalorian movie that's coming out, but we also got confirmation that a second season of Ahsoka is headed to Disney Plus, maybe the bargain bin, who probably Hulu or whatever buys them out next. Paramount Network, right?
whatever desperate failing media conglomerate can save them at the last second, they'll take it at this point.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. But like, so there's really not a lot of news outside of the fact that this is the title now, The Mandalorian and Grogu, which is just like, what is that? Like, I don't. Like,
wait a minute,
not
Spencer, wait a minute. Season 2 of Ahsoka. That's news to Rosario Dawson.
I know. So on the Ahsoka front, while we got confirmation from Disney that yes, we are moving forward with the second season, we also just got confirmation out of Rosario Dawson herself that she has not been approached yet to have any conversations about returning to the series. Now, that's basically all there is to that bit. She was asked during an appearance on Entertainment Weekly's Star Wars podcast, the Dagobah Dispatch. She was straight up asked, have you had any conversations about getting back in the makeup chair? And she just outright confirmed, no. And then she was like, I'm about to have a dinner with all the cast, and that's going to be the first time we've seen each other since it all wrapped. So that was sort of the position update that Rosario had given us like last week. And so then we got this news. So to me, this just feels more of the Disney being desperate and announcing things to announce things. I mean, we got the big news today. I have the article ready to go. I just need to like touch up some images. But D&D, the what do you call it? The Game of Thrones guys. They remember them. They're back in the news. They're talking about what their movie was going to be about. And that was another thing that was announced and just never happened. And that, like, that was an 18th month period. Like, that was quick.
I think what happened, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but a lot of these projects got announced, like, I want to say before 2020. A lot of these projects have been in development or at least been talked about. And then what happened was that the entire country went to crap. And all of these corporations realized that, we actually don't have the money to fulfill all of these trash projects. So now everything's just kind of in limbo. They don't want to degrade them by saying that, this is absolutely not going to happen. But it's like, we're still talking about it. It still may happen.
Well, that's fun. It's funny you say that because that was what Kathleen Kennedy said when they exited. I was reading all the old articles and Kathleen was like, it's sad to see them go, but we're always happy to leave the door open if you want to come back and work with us when your schedule's free up. And I do think there's something to that, but I also think it's a sort of just taking a more cynical look at it. It's more what's that phrase? When it comes to a stock, it's all about making that line always go up, right? That's what I feel like a lot of this is. And I know it's a different franchise, but it's probably the most, it's very related because it's Abrams related. But remember the Star Wars or Star Trek 4 announcement that he made like 2 years ago, a year ago, like right as everything was right as COVID was being over or whatever. And and then he was like, yeah, Star Trek 4 coming in this year or 2023. It's happening. We're all on board. And then all the cast was like, what are you talking about? We've never heard about this. And then sure enough, the date came to pass like last month. We haven't heard anything about this. Like there's no trailer, there's no casting news, there's no anything. And we also do know that there's a lot of speculation out there. Like John F. Trent, he does a lot of this coverage over at That Park Place nowadays, along with, Jonas and Pro and all of them. But, oh my gosh, now I totally blanked on what I was saying. Somebody remind me of...
No, go ahead. Yeah, has become, I'll get back to it. Remember that one clip where like Puff Daddy was talking with Craig Mack, and he happened to mention that they were working on a new album, and Craig's face lit up like, "Oh, that's the first time I've ever heard of it." And then the album never came out.
It's exactly like that. But what I was thinking of is there are rumors all the time, and Jacob and I and Cider, we make jokes about it here all the time, that everything is basically up on the sales block, right? In terms of studios and conglomerates, Paramount might buy CBS, Comcast might buy Disney. Disney is looking to sell to there's so many different parts that are all moving. And I feel like there's got to be some level of truth to it. Maybe not exact truth, but I do feel like there is something to everything just being, propped up to sell. Like that's when I know John is a big proponent of the theory that that's what's going on with DC, where James Gunn announces all this stuff, all these projects all the way out for like 90 years just to make potential buyers go, ooh, can we get on that? Like, look, they have a plan now. Let's buy in. And I kind of feel like, what else do they have at this point? Because nothing that ever comes out is ever actually good. Nothing is it all feels amateurish. It all feels like, if the writing isn't high school level, then the acting and the cinematography and everything else is it's all crap now. So we've run into a point where I'm just like, I do not know what the hell they're doing over there.
It's like, what is there to be excited about?
When it comes to Star Wars, nothing.
Well, remember, just quick before let Cider go, we just had 7 years ago the big merger with Disney and 20th Century Fox, and everyone was supposedly excited about that because it's like, oh, we're going to combine all these things into one, and look at all the content that we're going to be getting over the next 7 years. And 7 years later, have you gotten any of that content? Have we gotten literally anything?
We got a 5-second play of the X-Men theme in Miss Marvel, and then we got Xavier's yellow chair in Doctor Strange. That's all that's come out of that. Oh, and I guess Beast in the Marvels, if you really want to count that. But again, that was another one of those desperate plays that Disney does, where
we literally spent $70 billion just so Wanda could snap Patrick's neck in the Doctor Strange movie. That's where we spent all that money.
He was on a podcast like last week, and it's where I found his whole bit about apparently all the Illuminati when they shot that cameo, the meeting, the fight with Wanda, none of them were together. Like, it was all green screen. But during that interview, the interviewer, Josh Horowitz, was like, man, there was nothing respectful about how they sent off your character in Doctor Strange. And Pat was just like, yep. And I'm just like, wow, coming from Patrick Stewart, that's probably the angriest you're going to get out of him.
Yeah.
But no, but yeah, go ahead, Cider. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, Jacob and I were working on our own, fixes for the situation. And that's how, that's how you would get people's interest in, is if actually Lucasfilm came out and said, we made an oopsie, a very expensive oopsie, and we are going to go over here to this tiny red reset button and have them hold up the easy button with reset tape over it. You got masking tape, and someone's written with Sharpie called a reset. And then they push it, and Mickey's haha comes out of it, haha. And they're like, haha, okay, we're gonna reset the Star Wars universe now. We're real sorry for what we did. That's how you get the interest back. That's largely, unless you want to shelve this property, like Leslie was talking about, keeping it away from the public eye for 10 years. The only way you're gonna fix it is if you come out and say, we screwed it up, we're gonna redo it, we're gonna take another shot at it. That's the only way you're gonna get people to come back in droves.
No, I 100% agree, because we're getting at that, we're at the point where every single announcement, whether it be comic book, video game, movie, television show, is just met with eye rolls from 90% of the population, that other 10% being hardcore like Disney shows or Star Wars shows. This isn't a brand that has like longevity now. And yeah, like you guys are saying, shelve it, like Cider and Leslie are saying, shelve it, leave it alone, and then come back to it. Like when we're all done with it.
At this point in time, Star Wars is basically the New York Jets. It's like one year after another, it's just one stinker after another, and somehow they have to convince the fan base that there's actually going to be hope for next season. And then shocker, there's another stinker. So
you want a further like example to that metaphor is that look at the Aaron Rodgers situation, right? Aaron Rodgers, Ray Stevenson. Oh shoot, this like superstar is in the production now. Like there might be something worth going like to watch. Okay, I'm actually excited. Let's see what you can do, Aaron. Let's see what you can do, Balin Skull. And then
3 minutes ankle. Into the game.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. There goes Ray, and it's like, well, what now? And that's another thing we're gonna have to deal with when we get to Ahsoka is what do they do with Rey? Are we going to see a recasting, which they hate doing, or are we going to see another AI thing or like a CGI Grand Moff Tarkin Luke thing?
Nope. You're gonna have a nice situation where he gets killed off screen. He's going to be like you're gonna have an audio of him being in one of the TIE fighter things. And they're going to go chase Ahsoka through the weird little galaxy portal. And one of those hyperspace whales is going to fart hyperspace on him. And that'll be it. You won't see him. You'll just hear him go, ah!
And that's it. And then it's up. And then his role will be given to whatever her name was.
Yeah, the little crazy Muppet creature that was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's going to be your big bad of season 2. Aren't you guys so excited? Like,
and she'll be motivated by that. Like she'll see him get farted on and be like, "No, you can't beef stew my master."
It's almost like he's just looking around. It's like, I feel like you guys. I'm more excited than you guys, and there's like an awkward silence like around the room. It's like it's right. Probably
because you are probably the only one excited about being here. Let's see. We have a super chat. We have a $10 super chat from our homie YouTube Me. Just dropping some bucks without comment before heading out, as is my practice. Hey, YouTube Me, thank you for stopping by. This is like the 10 Australian is super appreciated. Anything, just you guys being here is super appreciated. But this rules. You're the best, man. We'll see you soon. Obviously, take it easy. I know you've always got a lot going on over there. So yeah, take it easy, rest up, and we will see you soon, my friend. Let's see. With that, let's see what you guys have to say about all of this stuff. Let's see. Kate says, yesterday's Medicis are today's BlackRocks. The patrons are paying creators, not artists, to create the kind of art said patrons desires, not to be sold, but to be woke fan fiction for their amusement. Kate, I like that, because that is, I think that's what I wanted to say. I think you put like the absolute perfect like stamp on it. Also, side note, because I've been meaning to ask both of you this for weeks. Did you guys see, and in the chat as well, but especially Jacob, did you see that video that Black Rock put out a video over the holidays that was like "We are Black Rock," like, you know, like one of those stupid company like social media pride dances or whatever. But there's like
we're totally not evil.
That's what I was getting at, because there's a moment in the song where they're like, you know, changing lives, you know, helping employees, all that corporate crap. But then there's a moment where they're like, we're Black Rock, not Blackstone. Don't confuse the two. And I'm just like, what? Are we at the point where we have to do that? Aren't you just the same like evil entity, just under two different names?
That's why they want you to think they're different.
Yeah, no, as soon as I said it out loud, I was like, aha, that's the strategy. Shove it off.
Hydra head will tell you it has a different name.
And yeah, so BlackRock, Blackstone, what's the other big one that I know I'm forgetting?
It's State Street.
State Street?
Vanguard.
That's
the
one I was
biggest three are BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. Those are the big ones.
Isn't it weird how like literally all of them are just references to like a giant black onyx that people worship around the world ever since the pagan days?
Yeah, and I'm sure if we look into it, there's some connection with the word Vanguard too. Like there has to be there.
Well,
like,
sure.
You know, they're a vanguard against, you know, non-Islams or Muslims, non-Islams.
Non-Islams, yeah. All those non-Islams out there. But
All those
yeah,
non-Islams.
the big thing that to remember about them though is that they are all the same entity because they have members that cross over their board of directors. Each of them share members that overlap, and they all own controlling interest in every enterprise on the planet. I'm not trying to be one of those tinfoil hat guys. Tinfoil hat guys. I'm telling you, from freaking Wonder Bread all the way up to SpaceX, these guys are in the pocket of everything going. You pay your mortgage, you're paying BlackRock. There is no way away from them. That's the thing.
There, you know how everybody in our sphere, a lot of us, we raised the point of it's hard to avoid supporting Disney because they have their hands in everything. It's like that, but on a much like a globalist scale. Like it literally is. Instead of just entertainment,
the volume dealer has it right.
Everything.
They need a volcano layer.
I'm pretty sure like Schwab has one. Schwab looks like an old school James Bond villain. Like he just needs the what is it? Like the old
he looks like Goldfinger if he fell down the aging tree, you know?
Yes.
Wait, doesn't
no,
oh no, I was
Bond,
thinking
I expect you to eat the bugs.
Bug member. See, you said gold member.
There we go.
Right? You said gold member, and I was like, yeah, he does look like gold member. But for a second, then you said the aging thing.
No, I said Goldfinger.
Right. That's what happened. My brain went to gold member, and I'm like, I think gold member was already pretty old, but Schwab is up there, and then I had to do like the course correct. I like what Leslie is saying here. Always with the good Star Wars analysis from Leslie. The Mandalorian and Grogu announcement is damage control to deflect from what Obaid Chinoy is saying. I can definitely believe that because none of what we saw in this announcement was anything. We got a title that felt like it was thrown together just like that. Like there's no even at least Han Solo's movie tried something and it went with Solo. Like this is just your characters, the Mandalorian and Grogu. Who cares? But then like the one piece of concept art they showed I feel I don't want to say anything I don't want to say anything official, but it feels like AI to me. It's probably not. It just feels like that level of quality because the way if you want to scroll down, Cider, it's in this article, but the way Grogu looks in the thing, like it feels AI-y to me, but I know that there's like an artist signature. So it just felt very rushed to me. And then the statements they shared.
No, I want you to take a minute and look at that.
That's what I'm saying. Look at that. Something about the baby Grogu-ness. Like, is that even really his hand? Yeah, his finger's all jacked.
I just want to twist his little head like a Funko Pop.
Just point. Yeah, like it doesn't feel like there's any sense of cohesion there.
It feels like there was an AI image and they did some operation because look, his hand has disappeared.
Right, that's what I was.
What is holding the baby? There's nothing holding the baby.
Well, look,
if you follow
it's like a weird circle clamp on his chest. It's weird.
Yeah. Let me just.
Well, we know for a fact that like Hollywood studios, especially within like Disney, are using AI art now as a cheaper alternative.
It's look at that. There's no fingers.
Like there's no. It's not even a hand, really.
It's like his hand becomes Grogu. It just stops being the hand, and then the baby's little dressy thing forms out of the glove.
It's like he's holding one of the old Tron like data discs. Like that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
So weird. But yeah, we do know that lots of companies are using AI, and it wouldn't surprise me. And I definitely think
Assassin's Creed got blown up for it.
Assassin's Creed got blown up for it. Wizards of the Coast got blown up for it. And like, just as a side note, like that is what will always make me laugh about this AI situation is when these companies try to use it, and we are at the like whether you like AI art or not, you have to admit that it's good at doing what it does, but it's not great yet. Obviously, as Cider was pointing out, there are issues with hands, there's issues with fingers, there's issues with just little details sometimes that make it not quite human. So every time you use it, people will call you out, and it's not like what defense can you really offer? Like you will always get caught in this instance. Wacom, the tablet company, they recently released a preview video for their next update, and it had AI art in it, and everybody was like, that is AI art, what are you doing? Like, you're supposed to be an artist like company. And they came out with a statement that was like, on further review, we bought these from a third-party vendor, and then we ran these through AI art checkers, and they didn't say anything was wrong, so we don't know how this happened. And I'm just like, that's a load of shit. Like, there's absolutely no way. Like, who buys this? We are in the age of corporations are so like lying so bold-facedly, and thanks to the social media, they can be called out immediately, that nobody trusts their crap. Like I don't trust anything to come from Disney. I don't expect I just don't. Anytime a company says something, I'm at the point where it's like, prove it. Like, show me what you're gonna do.
I just want to give you an example of how deep this is getting. Okay, this is AI. This is Midjourney V6.
That's really good.
I can show you what it's doing now. This is Midjourney V6.
Wow, that's really
it's
good.
capable of. Okay, now you'll notice it's not struggling with hands too much anymore. It's not having a problem.
There's little things, but you have to they're not obvious.
Of course, this guy isn't showing his hands.
Yeah.
Again, like this fella, he's got
crazy.
Got a little weird situation going on with his hand there and that kind of thing. But again, like more and more, you're not gonna be able to tell the difference, and that's why these corporations don't mind getting flack for it now, because they know in a few years you're not going to be able to immediately tell the difference. But what I can tell you is that as you're looking at these pictures, your brain knows something's wrong. Your brain understands that there's something missing.
Subtle differences in there, definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
There's something missing out of this, and I'll tell you what it is. It's the human soul. The eyes don't have any life in them. Look at these eyes. There's no life in there. There's nothing. It's just a machine looking back at you. You know? You can't.
That's weird. I never thought about it like that.
And that's what it is. When people ask me about how I feel about AI art, I say it's not art. These are just matching shapes. There's no intelligence here. There's no creativity involved. It's trying to match a database of images together to create what it thinks you want. And you just keep feeding it stuff so you get different ideas out of it. That's it. It's no more intelligent or creative than a random number engine. So that's why I tell them it's an AI image generator.
Yes.
Only the human soul can make art. Even when they use it to make like fake photography, these don't look, you can tell in the eyes. You can always tell in the eyes when they're doing human, but also when you look at the paintings that it does, there's no soul to it. And I give people this example. Think of Jackson Pollock. He's the guy that you see that did the splatters of paint on there, where it has no shape. It was just his rage paint splats all over canvas, right? But when you look at that, you can feel the anger in the splatters. Yes, it's splatter, right? You could probably get the same effect by like giving it to your cat and then running your cat down a stairway, right? You probably get the same effect.
Throwing it in the dryer,
you can feel the human anguish in it. And somehow that moves from like human into paint or whatever medium you're using into art. That's what makes it art, is that human soul that's imbued into what you've created. The machine can't do that. It just matches shapes. That's it.
First of all, like that, like you took the words right out of my mouth. Like that, I loved everything you just said there. And I'm just like haunted by the fact that now I see it. Now I see the eyes. Like I see the fact that there's nothing there. But then you do get these, which is like, you know, I would watch. I know you've been doing a lot of these Cider, like alternate takes on Star Wars. All the Evil Rays are better. I would watch an Evil Ray movie. That would get me back in the seats. That would probably be the only interesting thing.
Ray at the very least should be like, you know, either like a tweener or like definitely like somewhere like in between like here. But yeah, I mean, this would be a far better movie than like the Mary Sue, because then it would actually force her to be a character. She would actually have to force to take a stand on things, and she would have to be interesting, and people would actually have to endear to her instead of just be like, oh, isn't she amazing in just everything that she does here? Like, wouldn't it be great if there was just like a little bit more depth?
She looks way cooler too. Yeah. Like I love that mention of death, because remember I'm pretty sure it's Last Jedi, I want to say, I don't know, whichever one where she goes in and sees her like dark side self, like that.
Last Jedi.
Is that Last Jedi? Okay, yeah, that shot was in the trailer.
Wait, is it? Hold on, is it the one
See,
where she's laser fighting her?
No.
No,
you're talking
like,
about Rise of Skywalker.
Mirrors.
Is it Rise? Okay, yeah. It's where she has like the hood on, and then she like shows her lightsaber. Yeah, because that's okay.
That's
is that
Rise of Skywalker?
Okay, yeah, because in Rise, I remember, Last Jedi was panned, everybody hated it, blah blah blah. Then we got the trailer for Rise of Skywalker, and everybody went, well, look at that. There's an evil Rey in there, mate, because that like one shot was in there. So people were like, oh, maybe we're gonna get something. And then not only was that moment like all of 2 seconds, but there's no depth to it because all she does, she literally hisses. She just goes, and then Rey goes, whoa, and that's it. Like you wasted that entire thing on a PG-13 jump scare. Yeah, if that
made
like
her teeth all pointy.
Imagine if they gave
How
her
would you
like
know she was evil if that didn't happen?
Imagine if they gave her like more of like a split personality angle. Like as much as she tries to pretend like she's a Skywalker, in reality her Palpatine blood is rising to the surface and she can't control, her dark side urges here. So it's almost like a battle between like the light and the dark within herself, which would make her a far more entertaining character than whatever they did with her. Because I mean, let's be honest, have they given her any kind of discernible character in the time that she was in the 3 movies that she was in before?
That's what's insane too, is like, we're finally going to get, a Rey trilogy. And it's like, dude, you already tried that. And it didn't work. Why stop trying the same thing over and over again?
What was 7, 8, and 9 if not the Rey trilogy? What?
Look, you can either call it the Rey trilogy or like the merchandising trilogy. Either way, it didn't work out how Disney wanted.
Porg trilogy.
Oh, the Porgs. Oh, that means I got to go look for I know I have it, but my favorite Star Wars picture. I'll find it. Don't worry. But all of this would have been so much better than anything we got.
Yeah, make her like either a villain or a conflicted hero. We can finally go back to Space Monaco, which we haven't been to. It's so many years. It was just such a throwaway. It's like there's so much you can do in Space Monaco. You guys just completely dropped the ball on that one. It's like, what the hell was that all about?
Like the more, now I've got it stuck in my head, the Kate J's whole Medici BlackRock thing. And like, what was that all about? It was about a fan fiction that made them feel good about doing nothing, right? Oh yeah, we totally took down all those rich people who exist in real life Monaco and are war profiteers. And it's like, no, you didn't. You did a weird thing that maybe like you feel good about doing, but it didn't change anything. It wasted 30 minutes of all of our times.
Like in reality, I hate to break this to you, maybe this is breaking news. You did fuck all the entire time that you were there. Like that's the thing that bothers me. It's not even just like the wasted potential on Space Monaco. It's like the whole reason why they were there was to find a guy who can help them lower the shields on the ship. They didn't find the guy. They brought back some other dude, and it turns out the entire like second act of that film was completely pointless, and then they just ended up having a battle on a completely different planet anyway. So it's like, then why was any of that in the film?
Because why that was in the film was because, well, it's filler, but it's also because they don't understand what Star Wars is. It's a very superficial reading of it, right? What happens in a Star Wars movie? You got lightsaber battles, you've got different planets, you've got a Sith and a Jedi, you've got spaceships. That's, all those elements are in their movie.
Whoa, hey, no, you got cute robots.
Oh, how can I forget the most important element, the cute robots? I'm sorry, George. I forgot R2. That one's on me. But
it's the most important character, gosh darn it.
It's literally a bunch of like schmuck executives like in a room thinking to myself, how do we turn this into a toy? Like this isn't quite marketable enough for us. Like how do we turn this into something that 20-year-old women are gonna run out and go buy? Like how can we do that?
Oh, like, we create a baby Yoda that triggers all of their nurturing instincts because they don't have any kids of their own, and they'll just buy a bunch of merch with that on it. Genius.
It's just like what happened. It's like, oh, we were more focused on the merchandise than the actual movie itself. I don't know how this could have possibly happened.
Focused on the merchandise, and then like you have to give people a reason to want to buy the merchandise, and nobody's going to want to buy a Porg action figure. Nobody wanted a Rose Tico action figure. Nobody wants a Rey action figure. That's probably the most insane. The porgs are dumb. They existed for like a literal. They were created for like that one joke of Chewbacca eating them.
Maybe if they got this, maybe if they got this porg action figure, they'll sell a whole lot of Funko Pops of this, right? Like they'll be flying off the shelves. That they might go at Comic-Con for like at least $20.
No other accessories that you don't want to tell your mom about. Certainly.
All those weird figurines in your room.
Figurines, yes.
Yeah, not in my room. That definitely isn't happening here. There it is. I finally found it. I always bring up this photo because it just, to me, it encompasses what is so perfectly wrong with the current like Star Wars writing room, crew, direction, whatever the hell you want to call it. It is, let's see, I have like a million. Of course I have like a million windows open right now because why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I have a bunch of stuff?
Little Red Riding Ray.
Mm-hmm. That one's cool. Like all of these look way cooler than her actual appearance.
These are all better ideas than literally $1 billion corporation can come together with 3 different movies.
That's again because nobody understands like what the series is supposed to be. They just think, oh, put the accoutrements, put the robot, put the swords. Okay, everybody loves it. Yeah, this is what's his name? Pablo. I don't think it's Hidalgo, but that guy is on the Star Wars writing team, and that's him and his wife. And it's just like, is that not like the perfect encapsulation of just everything? The merch, it's more important to be consuming correctly than it is to actually like the product. If you don't properly show everybody how much you love these stupid ass birds, nobody's going to know that you're a real Star Wars fan. Yes, Kate, that like it seriously is like the strongest one. I'll give him credit. At least his mouth isn't open, right? That would have just sealed the deal. That would have just been the mwah on top.
Oh, they have porg tattoos even.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Porg tattoos, porg cups, porg Funkos of Chewie holding the porgs on their shirts, porgs on their jammies. Just what? Porg on a stick. I would eat that. Honestly, that
Chewie did.
Chewbacca's about to eat. Yeah, it actually looks pretty good. Or they tried to astroturf these things. Like this was part of it, right? After Last Jedi comes out, oh, aren't these things so cute? Aren't they everywhere? Did they ever show up again? I think they made like a brief appearance in Rise, but then they were gone. Like I haven't seen them they're not in Mando.
So Leslie points out this. She says the porgs were created because Lucasfilm, whatever, couldn't figure out how to remove the IRL puffin that where they were in the background. So I have this neat thing, right? This really neat suggestion. How about the desert? Everything's dead there. And like not walking around in the background. So like really crazy idea. Why don't you film Star Wars in the desert? Really? I know it's out there, right? Just totally unheard of. But
you are an insane person who
I know, right?
To be arrested.
It's almost like George Lucas sat down and was like, what would be the most cost-effective way to make this movie the studio is very nervous about making? I know, I'll put it in the desert.
But then that use of whatever that island is in like, what is that, like Scotland or something, wherever Luke is, it's somewhere out there. But that just sort of goes to the point of to steal a phrase, like, evil cannot create, it can only copy, right? Where they go, oh yeah, this is what we see it all the time where they go, oh yeah, George Lucas did this, whomever, Stan Lee did this, they had their characters go to a different locale, so we got to make them go somewhere, but we got to make ours like really different. We got to make sure it stands out because we're special. So they go and they do whatever. They just, the thought process in choosing that location is it's different. That's where it ends. It's different. We've never seen it. Everybody will remember this big watery island from Star Wars. And then nobody does. And then when they finally get to filming, they finally start getting into it, and they realize there are problems either with like a story or with the fact that there are porgs. Instead of going, oh, or like puffins, instead of going, oh, shoot, let's, change something. Let's, do what we can to work around this. They just go, no, it's supposed to be like that. The island was Skellig Michael. Okay. Yeah. Isn't that in like, is that Oddish or Oddish? Irish, yep. Scottish? I'm not entirely sure. Oddish.
Is
it gloomy? Yeah, DC3, like that goes to what Volume Dealer was saying, right? Porgs were initially cute. I would admit that, but now I want to roast them like chicken. Yep. For honestly, I'm not that mad that they were like, oh, there are puffins. Oh, like I'm with Cider. It was a dumb idea to put it there, but if you're working with your constraints, what do you do? Oh, let's just CGI.
But there's no reason to do those constraints. There's absolutely no reason on Earth to be filming on an island in Scotland for Star Wars.
I agree with you. I'm saying I'm working within the constraints of the situation we have presented with us, because I'm right there with you. We shouldn't have been there at all. But if you're working within the constraints and you go, oh, well, I have we chose this place. Now we discover there are puffins. What the hell do we do? I think you could do a lot worse than just going, all those birds you see in the background are this fictional character, or this fictional species that we made for, and oh, look how cute it is. The problem, like Volume and DZ are getting at, is like, then they went, oh, you like porgs? Have everything porg. Porgs are so important. Don't you think they're so damn cute? Here's every scene with a porg. And it's just like, whoa, I said it was cute. I didn't say like it was the love of my life. Like, you need to chill out there. Like, you guys really, really wanted to sell
and then what did they do 2 years later? Hey, here's Baby Yoda. We learned nothing.
No. They did learn.
Hey,
and that's what I was saying.
Like porgs. We got a green one with elf ears.
We got a green porg. This one doesn't talk either. No, it's like I was saying earlier. Baby Yoda was created to specifically hit the nurturing instincts, the reproductive cycle instincts of all of the currently like mid, like 30s, late 40s women who are these fan bases now. Like,
but then he does cool flips so kids don't get bored. They're like, whoa, Baby Yoda did a flip.
To be fair, those are like the best parts of Baby Yoda, because they just look like a puppet, and it brings back that like, oh, do a flip.
They should have the Mario sound. They should really just pay for the rights. No, the Biron noise that it makes when he jumps. The Biron. That's Boing? What they should do every time that Baby Yoda does a backflip. That Mario noise. That'd be great.
I don't think Nintendo would allow that. They would sue the hell out of that.
That's true. That's why they should pay for it.
That'd be a pretty easy, interesting legal fight. Disney and Nintendo, like, who goes down first?
Disney in a heartbeat.
It's like kaiju. It's like Ghidorah versus Godzilla, right?
That's exactly what it is. You have this really big, stronger one in Disney Ghidorah, and it's got all these impressive tricks, these lawyer tricks, these multiple heads, but Nintendo and Big G, you just got to go with what works. Just keep your head down. You're going to win that.
Nintendo's lawyers must have like the spirit of the samurai, because they do not screw around with any of their IPs at all.
Dude, if you even whisper like, oh, I'm going to make a fan game of something, you will have Nintendo's ninja squads outside of your house, like holding your family hostage.
Got him.
The only one it ever gets is me.
It was just that quick. It heard you like, I'm gonna make a thing, and they're like, oh no, you're not.
Oh no, you aren't. Nintendo, cut us out. Leslie says they could have used CGI to remove the puffins. The only reason I would caution against that is probably because, well, Cider says it's a good idea, and you could have, but I also think that leaves you open to too many like, what the hell is, like, people pausing and being like, what the hell is that thing back there? Okay. Why is there a wing there?
I just want to break it to you, okay? I just want to break it to you. It would have been cheaper to build an abyss pool like they did for James Cameron Abyss movie, right? Than to have bothered to have taken all of that time and all of that manpower to transform all of those puffins into porgs, now let alone just erasing them out of it too. You could have just built an artificial Scottish island and done your volume sky that you guys fell in love with over the top of it. And most audiences, I know I would have, if you started having waves hitting it, right? I would, the wave machine off on the corner, I would have been like, that's an island somewhere. We did not need the Scottish island experience in Star Wars.
You know what you just reminded me of too, with your talk about the abyss pool and the wave machine? This is Disney. They're, at the time of this was all happening, they were working on Avatar. They have the technology. It's all sitting there. Like, just go to your wave pool and say, hey, can we get 30 minutes of B-roll?
George Lucas did not film Dagobah in the Florida Everglades, by the way.
Where was that? Where was it?
I don't know, but I have a feeling it was a sound stage because I can't imagine they sank and then unsank an X-wing, a life-size 1-to-1 scale X-wing prop in an actual swamp.
I mean, back then, that movie magic was capable of that back then. That was actual movie magic.
Yeah, I really think that was a sound stage that they put together to look like a swamp, because I really don't think you can sink an X-wing and then unsink it in an actual swamp.
No, probably not. Yeah, that was probably just like
it was in London,
an orchestra pit, and then they just like raised it up.
There's an actual swamp in London, or is it a fake sound stage in London?
That's just what London is. Have you ever been there? It's just a swamp.
It's just an ugly alien swamp. Okay, cool. No wonder people came to America.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You'll go there for like a day and be like, we made the right choice. Let's see. Let's see. I forgot. YouTube me says, I forgot who said it. I turned into Mandalorian to see a badass bounty hunter fighting against authority, not a father-son dramedy. I know a lot of people have said that. I know John Trent was like, of that same opinion. Not so much the like father-son dramedy, but like I tuned in for the badass bounty hunter. I didn't want the RPG fetch quest that, it's basically like Oblivion the game, and it's really Oblivion the show, and it really grates in that aspect. But I agree with you, YouTube me. We all thought we were getting a badass Boba Fett style character, and what we got was, I don't know, like a grade school dropout of the Mandalorian program. It's insane.
It's almost like Bethesda created the Mandalorian. Yes, all it needs is just characters flying across the environment randomly.
Well, at this point, we're gonna start getting Disney mods in the form of, we get those in like the form of celebrity cameos, right? Like the Lizzo and Jack Black thing. Download this mod to put Lizzo and Jack Black in your episode of The Mandalorian. Like that's all it feels like now. It feels everybody's chasing that.
But I don't want it.
Yeah, but I don't want it. I didn't want it at all. Like, oh, that episode is so stupid. But where was Volume Dealer says, I have no problem with Grogu's introduction. The fun of Star Wars is existing species mixed with another in a new way. So I mean, like, that's one of the fun of like its alien setting. And I don't think, even when Grogu came out or like made his debut, a lot of us were fine with it. A lot of us went, oh, that's interesting. Like, what a plot point. Let's see where this goes. But then, back to what we were talking about, it was how they handled it after that. After that moment where everybody went, oh, Grogu's pretty cool. I like Grogu. Like, yeah, how adorable, how cute. They went, ramp it up. They said they like Grogu, just give them like massive Grogu. They don't understand like supply and demand, right? They hear a huge demand and they over like supply. And then when all of that doesn't pay off, they go, why is there no demand? Where's all of our money?
You lied to us.
I thought, didn't you guys want this? I read so many tweets online. There were so many likes on a tweet that said I would buy a life-size Baby Yoda toy for $1 million, and you guys aren't doing it. Did market research lie to me?
This is the thing that I did, right? As I listened to that part of the whole success story with Baby Yoda, right? And they like the character, and they like how sassy the character is, and when he had his special little Gundam thing. So I went the opposite direction with what I did. Is I created a retake,
please,
where Rey stayed, but we made her a little girl, made her a little Rey.
So, yeah,
anyway,
dude, you should go, or at least give like a summary, because I was following your thread.
Yeah,
and, like,
I'm not gonna read it post for post because I've been at it for a while. It's a really long situation. But what I propose is just completely undoing that sequel trilogy completely. But they want their female lead. They want that female successor to Luke. So let's have her earn it. So let's introduce Rey, reintroduce her as a 9-year-old girl, right? But she's having nightmares, okay? So my crawl opens. It's 10 years after the Empire fell. There's a new republic. Leia's in the Senate. Luke is on his homeworld trying to figure out a mystery. We don't know what that mystery is. We find out it's a little girl having nightmares about Vader, right? She's got markings on her head in this dream where she's meeting Vader. And he's reaching out to her with his mangled, burned up fingers. I'm going to get you. And then it turns out
the AI gave him like actual fingers there. Did you notice that?
Yeah, it's all
like with like nails. Yeah.
I mean, it's still 6, but I mean, it's getting there.
Yeah. Well, I figured if in Luke's hands all fucked up too, but whatever. So, and then Luke wakes her up and he's like, everything's okay. You can return to life. But then it's revealed that she is the Force produced daughter of Darth Vader. That in his grief, he replicated Plagueis's bring life thing that brought
so
Anakin to life. And now Rey exists as the new Anakin. So this is the full cycle redemption of Anakin, that he now has been reborn as Rey and now has an opportunity to pursue the light with the darkness still calling out to him in the form of his previous life as Darth Vader. This isn't a trans allegory. This is providing Lucas's echo effect.
Well, not until the Disney's writers' rooms get their hands on it.
That's true. This is providing the echo effect, and Luke explains to Rey. He says, Anakin is dead, and he was very sad. He was so sad that he did awful things to hide his pain. And in that darkness, he was almost consumed. But the good parts of him are you, me, and Leia. And she asks him, the light stayed with Anakin? He says, always. So long as love exists in your heart, the light will be with you. And now this is important because they want to tell you that the light and the darkness are even these days. And so what I've sat in and I've said, no, love is light and hatred is the dark. These things have to remain as opposition. They cannot occupy the same space, right? Yep. So, and that's the route I'm going with this. So Luke ends up having to go on these different missions, and then the children end up joining him. So you have young Ben Solo training with his uncle, and he doesn't become Kylo Ren. He's a good boy, right? So then you have like this Spy Kid stuff happening where they're fighting droids. Like, you remember how R2 was squirting oil onto the battle droids during the sequel trilogy? So you have the kids with Yoda's tiny lightsaber, and they're like force passing it to each other across a room to slice up droids. And they're little kids, so they're just having fun with it. And you intermingled with that, you have Luke having lightsaber battles with Mara Jade, who has been brainwashed to work for a slaver. Okay, so you have now the slaver having a bodyguard in Mara Jade. And this is what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to meet what fans expected out of a sequel trilogy that continued Luke's journey into an expanded universe while also meeting Disney's edict to have a female successor to Luke. But I didn't want Luke to end up paved out of the way, steamrolled because of that, in order to accomplish this female successor. So I made him a surrogate father to his little sister. And that allows him to raise up an appropriate successor with the ability to like grow into a character that deserves the role of Skywalker. That's all. And that's it. And I know people wanted what they wanted, but Disney,
way better.
Disney isn't going to give us that. They want to do this female successor crap. So what I'm doing is I'm just trying to make them eat their hat. That's all I'm trying to do. Show
by
them
giving a good version of it.
Right. What they could have done rather than this, That's all I'm saying.
No, but the Porgs, it's so much more important that you buy that merch than us giving you an actual cohesive story that will carry merch sales into the next millennium like it did the first time around. Right? Like that's what also gets to me, is that Cider drops a better story right there, right? We've done that on this stream a million times. John, Jacob, Josh, all of us, whether it's Marvel, Star Wars, DC, there have been so many streams where we go, well, what about this? And we toss out a 2-minute elevator pitch and it's just better, right? I don't understand why what companies don't understand. And it's part of that short-sightedness, part of that, I call it like a neoliberal goldfish memory bit where everything I'm doing now is the most important thing. I'm the first. This is the only thing. It's oh God, what did I just blank? I just blanked because of the Mandalorian graphic. Damn it. That happens to me way too often. I'll probably get back to it. Don't worry. Oh, I feel like it's right there on the tip of my head. Yeah, we'll get there.
But Leslie, you're right. People wanted the Thrawn trilogy. Why couldn't Rey be the daughter of Mara Jade? Because one of the things I wanted was this whole thing for Luke to be able to retire into being an actual biological father. So in the process of raising Rey, he has biological children with Mara Jade. And in that way, he has the ability to step out of being a Grand Master and allowing Rey to come up into being a more prominent member of the temple. It's just to create a more natural handoff of the power of the role of being Grandmaster in the center of the universe, rather than just like, move over, old man, get your green milk drinking ass out of my way. I don't need no old hobo to help me. You know,
well, I also like that it parallels the whole, you know, what do you even call it? Like the breakup of the Skywalkers, where they don't know they exist. They don't know they have family. They end up, you know, Leia and Luke end up teaming up and they have no idea. Like, I love that there's a mystery there rather than just yeah, duh, of course it's going to be his daughter. Take it. Like you wanted that. Oh my gosh, I had it there. I had it there again. No, I didn't. Oh well. Yep. 3. Yeah, exactly. Volume dealer. Three blanks an hour.
I'm starting to think that the pot is starting to catch up with him after all.
Look,
hey man, I'm high as a kite. I got my stuff going on.
I know Cider can just clearly handle it better than me.
But hey, we got some good news while you're trying to recall your thought. Okay, Adam Driver reiterates again that he will not be back as Kylo Ren ever.
You mean there's going to be no more Reylo?
Oh no. Oh no, then what's the point of the sequel trilogy? Oh no.
Well, all around me are familiar faces.
Well, this gets funnier. This gets funnier, right? If you start like thinking about that Charmin Obaid thing she was going to do with him, force impregnating Rey with a kiss. Because if he doesn't return, that's another kid that grows up without a dad. And it's just the single mother parallel is just so loud to my face about that.
Oh my god, they're really gonna make Rey a single mom.
And then Kylo comes out and he says, "No, for real, I went and got milk and cigarettes. I ain't coming back." You know, and that's
so now you're gonna have Rey be she's gonna give force birth to the next Anakin, but it's only her, and then she'll raise him properly, and it'll all turn out great. Like, we remember what happened with Shmi, right? It wasn't exactly a great situation for Shmi.
Like, she was a slave.
Yeah, she was a slave. She got killed by the Raiders.
and it was so bad her son was a slave as well. That, you know, and then there was a very uncomfortable Middle Eastern styled character in charge of them that had a very, very telling accent to him.
Little Annie. We play a game.
Oh, it makes me so uncomfortable.
It makes me uncomfortable, but it makes me laugh because it was like they really just greenlit that. They let that go.
Yeah, like so many people did not say, George, you can't do that. Right. George, you're gonna get on a list if you do that.
There were so many steps.
He was just paying tribute to Harvey Weinstein. That's all it was. I don't know.
You just watch me. I'll do it again. You watch. I'll do it again.
I'm gonna do it again. I'll do it. But yeah, guys,
the impression of him, Spencer. That's almost dead on.
It's so dense. The poetry is so dense. It's because I watched that clip of him yelling at Zeb Wells like every night before I go to bed.
I'll put you to sleep at night.
But yeah, guys, so there's not a lot more to this story. There's no big bombshell. Basically, Adam Driver was had another interview this past week. They asked, a couple weeks ago, he had an interview. He said, yeah, doesn't look like it's in the cards for me. I don't think I'm coming back to Star Wars. He had another interview earlier this week or late last week, and he was asked the same question again, and he just said, nope, it's not in my schedule. It's not happening. But yeah, the more important part is the fact that throws in a huge wrench into the entire future of what they're trying to do. And there was a point I wanted to make way back when we started the Star Wars talk, and I don't remember who brought it up, but somebody said, at this point, you can't save anything. Everybody knows that Han Solo is dead, Luke is dead, all these people are dead.
Who's this guy?
Have happened. Was it Jacob?
I
was talking. Well, I know it was Jacob, but it was also somebody in the chat. That's what I was talking about. The person in the chat. Yeah, I don't listen to Jacob, but the. So yeah. Oh gosh, no, I got no respect. I got no respect at all. And so, but whoever that was in the chat, and shout, let me know, because I definitely want to give you the right credit. But they were basically saying, so given that this has already happened, that the brand is already wrecked, there's really no point. Like, what could you do in trying to save it? Why would any retcon, change anything? And I say to that, you're right. But I also think that if there was a direct, explicit statement saying or not even statement, but like turn away from the sequel trilogy, if they had done the thing in Mando where they, I forget which moment it was, but like, they what moment was it? There was a moment that basically they had an opportunity to completely swerve away from the sequels, and they didn't. They instead leaned right back into it. And so if you had that moment where it was like, yes, we are clearly going in a different direction, we are going to undo all of that, even if they don't come out and say something like we're sorry, like even if they don't explicitly say that, I think that enough would, taking that big of an L and owning up to it, showing your humility, I think that would be enough to at least get Star Wars fans to go, I'll watch your next episode. I will see what you do next.
Yep.
I think the big reason why we're probably not going to see any of that, because as we've been saying here throughout the course of the night, all of the same people who have gotten Star Wars up to this point right now are all still around. Every single one of them are still here. So there's not even anyone here to get people excited that, hey, maybe there is a possibility that they turn this thing around in the next few years. Now it's just like, oh no, we're just really doubling down and we're all screwed. And that's why there's just so much disinterest and disgust right now. Because like I said, what is there to be, like Kathleen Kennedy and all of her cohorts is still running the show here. So like, what am I supposed to be excited about?
And like, while we're focused on, or not focused, but while we all sit here and, I'm part of that group, we all hope there's going to be change. There's going to be, Kathleen's gone. All these people are gone. It's happening. It's gotta, in the meantime, people like Filoni, who are equally responsible for where we are getting promoted up the chain. Like these, as far as Lucasfilm is, like, to me, as far as Lucasfilm is concerned, shelve it. It's done. Like it's cooked. Like, just put it away. We don't put the toy away, come back to it later. Maybe people will like it. But at this point, you've managed to take a brand that was infamous for like being merchandised to death, and you've somehow managed to make it even like more slop, if that idea is even being communicated right. But it's just, it's insane, the hubris, the inability they have to right the ship. Where is it? Yeah, exactly. Traviel Helzen, the Watcher Angel Bunny, says, yep, they will never apologize. No, absolutely, they won't ever apologize. And that's why, like, when Cider said, they need to come out and they need to make that change, I don't think, like, my first thought was, I don't think we'd ever get a direct statement. You're never going to get any word from them that said, we are sorry, we screwed up. But you could, if they wanted to do it without having to come out and give a big mea culpa, they could just, have that moment in a show, in a movie, where it just completely pivots left, pivots right, and everybody realizes, like, oh, we're not going down that route anymore. We, blow up all of the Emperor's cloning technology or something. But there are ways you can that we could that they could go about doing it, but they absolutely won't, and they absolutely just never will. And yeah, Leslie, I have no hope anymore for Star Wars or any other IP. I kind of say you shouldn't. There really is no, at this point in Hollywood, it's like they have to prove to us, like they have to give us a reason to be excited. They don't do that. We don't have any trust in them, because every time they say, no, sorry guys, like we'll do it right this time. This time you guys are going to get the story you want. We're going to do it right. They always just subvert it to hell, and it always blows up in our faces. What were you going to say, Jacob?
The time to make change and correct the course was 2018, when I said this thing is probably already dead. Like, that was the time for them to be like, hey, look, we may have made some creative mistakes here with this last film, but we're gonna turn it around. It's like they took the negative reaction to The Last Jedi and decided that, you know what, this is the fans' fault. This is your fault. You're the problem here. It's not us. Matter of fact, Rian Johnson did a great movie. As a matter of fact, he did the best Star Wars movie of all time. Like, that was their reaction to The Last Jedi. So after years of that, people were like, okay, I'm out. It's like, I'm good. I'll drive myself back home.
Well, to bring it all full circle, it really is just, this fan fiction being written for a very specific group of people, where they will go, yeah, that's what we wanted to see. But everybody else, literally everybody else, has gone, we're out. right? Like that's fine if you want to do that over there, but why? Like, I don't really care. Fine, have fun with it. And so that's why we're seeing all these diminishing returns, all this desperation. Guys, the next project that's coming out is that damn Acolyte show, which has it was created by Leslie Headland. It stars Amanda Stenberg, who identifies as non-binary. It's got Jodie Turner-Smith, who played the race swap Anne Boleyn and is super drunk on identity politics. Like, that is the Acolyte is going to be sort of the crescendo, the finishing act, or like the finishing to act one of Disney Star Wars. Now that they've gotten it all, all the guys away, all the normal fans away, all the ladies who liked it before away, now they can start appealing specifically to that group. What comes in step 3? I don't know. I genuinely couldn't tell you, because I thought we were in this to make money, or I thought entertainment was in this to make, like, the industry was in it to make money. It's not happening. It hasn't happened in forever. No. We have a $2 super chat from Hey It's Me in HD saying major props for the Rodney Dangerfield reference. Oh man, I wish Josh was on tonight, because he and I literally, like, 2 days ago just went through a bunch of Rodney Dangerfield clips and just, like, watched them all, because his like his wife jokes, all of his like marriage jokes are like the funniest things in the world.
My wife broke up with her boyfriend and now we're both miserable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's things like that. Or it's like well, it was like every time my wife sees me during sex, she screams, and so does the other guy. And it's like those kind of jokes, right? Like, I love Rodney. He's so great. So yes, thank you. Hey, it's me in HD.
No, you got that joke wrong. I
know I got it wrong. Yeah.
The other night I was having sex with my wife, and she starts screaming, saying I'm some other man. And I interrupted her and I said, do you think anybody else would want a piece of this action?
He's so good. It's also, have you guys seen, like, younger Rodney Dangerfield?
Yeah.
He looks pretty good. Like, he's a pretty handsome dude. I was pretty shocked. Let's see. DC3 says, I kind of self-entertain these days anyway, which I think is a route a lot of us have taken. Go back to old stuff, go back to the runs we like, find the things you like. It's not so simple anymore as saying, like, oh, I like Marvel stuff, I like DC stuff, I like Star Wars, because nowadays that's all trash. You have to go find other stuff.
Like, I pay for a subscription to a stock photo website that allows me to generate those AI images that you saw in my example, the Star Wars fix I have. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just putting ahead the stuff that I would do with it to fix the problems that are on the table today. You can do the same right now. You can go over to an AI DALL-E image generator can do it for you. You can create it still by still, scene by scene, every part of a movie you would want to see right now. Just saying.
You can make the Star Wars sequel trilogy you wanted. And honestly, like...
It's not the one I want, by the way. I'm just working with... I'm trying to make Disney eat their hat by showing them a superior version of their vision.
Anything you can do, I can do better, is essentially what Cider is going for. There's also, like, I also think more people should go out and do that, because even if it, you start out writing a fan fiction, maybe you find a way to, I can turn this into something, my own characters, whatever. Damn it, I was gonna make that joke next. Cider, you're stealing my thunder, as always. Yeah, exactly. You can go the 50 Shades of Grey or the Rebel Moon path, but like,
that's so obvious. Oh, it's so obvious.
Hey, look, there's a girl who's power sensitive, and she's fighting the evil empire. She's got lightsaber. Like, it is clearly a Star Wars movie. They just recolored the characters.
Let's do Rey, but except for this time, Rey is like 5 inches taller and racially ambiguous. Let's do that. No one will know the difference.
Did you actually watch it, Jacob? Have you watched it yet?
Rebel Boon, yeah. I think I got about 20 minutes in before I tapped
Rebel Boon. Yep, that hits it. Yep, that's it. That hits it. That's it.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen Rebel Moon yet. All I've heard is that it is tedious. That's probably the nicest word I can come up with, is that it is Zack Snyder's Star Wars for everything that entails. And I don't know about you guys, but to me, that is like just an instant, I'm out. Like, I don't know. I don't want anything to do with that. DZ clarifies. He says, my self-entertaining is creating my own stuff, which I will never release. Hey, release it. Throw it out to us. Even I say this all the time, is that no matter what if you put something out there, no matter how terrible you think it is, no matter how terrible it actually is, somebody will be a fan of it. You will have some person out there going, I am the biggest DZ3 fan. Everything he delivers hits. I mean, we've got Ryan Johnson fans. We've got Kathleen Kennedy fans. You can do it too, guys. I almost guarantee anything you guys want to put out is going to be better than what we're getting now.
I want to show you.
And then, okay. Oh, you want to hit me with something?
Well, it's just going to take a second to bring it up because I just thought of it. But I just want to,
no
give
worries.
you guys an example, okay? Because a lot of people don't take the indie movement exactly seriously, and I just want to show you because I'm me, I'm this dopey stoner guy, right? I'm not some savior of literacy, okay?
Mm-hmm.
This is I'm working on a manga.
Team literacy.
I'm working on a manga. And so this is the first page, right? And I'm not going to bother you with a bunch of details about what this is and what the story's about. But you can go onto Fiverr right now and hire an artist to
is that I didn't know that's how you got it.
Yeah, I just go to Fiverr. I'm just patient. That's what I am with it. So I'll take a year to find the right talent who knows what I want to do.
Yeah.
But you could make your own stuff, guys. You really can. Like this is real deal manga. This isn't traced assets or anything like that. This is real deal
those are
manga.
all original.
And so you can have it
looks
done.
So good.
And so you're not trapped with consuming their stupid media. And it doesn't have to be manga either. You can make movies. There are people on there that specialize in the stuff that Disney is paying their all outdoors for, right? That they only do this stuff for like 20, 40, maybe $200 to do a full-length movie, It won't look like Hollywood stuff, but it'll be like stuff that should have been on in Hollywood in the 90s, probably. Okay.
Like the example that comes to mind is that Leonardo Ninja Turtles film that came out like a couple months ago, 3 months ago. That was incredible. Not Hollywood quality, but really damn good.
Right. And again, I mean, like, we have to remember that it's not what made these properties that we love so much. The properties we love so much is time. They didn't just show up and become instant hits. Yes, Star Wars was amazing for the time, right? And a lot of people were attracted to it. But the fact that it became something that people wanted to talk about over and over again was what made it last, okay? And then that generational sedimentation brought us to a point where Grandpa, Dad, and me all have the same relationship to Luke Skywalker, okay? Mm-hmm. And now that's not something that just happens with anything that drops out of the sky. And Luke, again, what George Lucas created was vastly outside of the wheelhouse of what people were interested in. The studio didn't want him to make it even, okay? So that's the point of going out and indifying what you're doing, going out and making your own stuff. Sure, it's great to go back and watch this old stuff, but you're going to run out of it eventually. Make your own stuff. Become the next George Lucas. You can do it.
You don't even do it. And like even if
you can do it all night long.
Do it. Even if you're super intimidated by like the prospect of starting something, maybe you think, "Oh, I don't have the talent. I don't have whatever." Remember,
neither does Hollywood.
Neither does Hollywood. That's a good point. But the One Punch Man series, like the whole series, got started by the mangaka as like napkin doodles. Like he's not a good artist, but he's made an entire series out of it. It's still running to this day. And it got so popular that one of the greatest artists in the entire history of the medium said, "Hey, I like your thing so much. I want to help you make it better. Like, can I work with you on it?" So like, skill level is not necessarily an issue unless it comes to something like, how to write a story. But then to that end, the one thing I wanted to highlight before we get on to our next topic is, where was it? So YouTube Me says, I mostly watch, he's still talking on my misread of DZ3's self-entertainment, but he's saying, I mostly watch free replays of old stuff. I love creature features on YouTube. The host is hokey and lame, but so are all horror hosts. It's great with old genre shows and silly commentary. So I think that your mention right there of, the host is hokey and lame, but so are all horror hosts. I think the hokey and lameness is a part of it, or it's like a bigger symptom of sincerity, right? And we don't have that a lot anymore. Those horror hosts, for that creature features channel, he probably loves what he's doing. He loves the fact that he's sharing these weird movies with you. He loves, he wants the experience. He wants that community, and he's genuine about it. Nowadays, you have people like all the Marvel writers or Neil Druckmann over at Naughty Dog who think, ugh, I don't want to genuinely show that I like these things. It's not cool to like things. I've brought it up before. I'm pretty sure it's a remnant of the 90s. What was that attitude called? Like not nihilism, but like just the shift in attitudes in the 90s of like, whatever, man, like it's not cool to like your parents or to like anything like that mentality.
It's cool to be counterculture even when
right. Yeah, I think that's the right sense of it. And since and that's what they hold on to. And so like when Cider talks about his stuff, I get super excited. Like I've known Cider's comic has been in the works for a while, and he's shown me some preview art. And every time he shows it to me, every time he talks to me about it, I get excited because I can feel that excitement radiating off of him. Right. Same with Jacob when he has a good topic for a stream coming up. When he's excited, I get excited. It doesn't matter. Like that's sincerity. Just bring it back. Going back to what Cider said about AI and like a lack of soul in those creations, that's sort of what we are in Hollywood right now. There's no soul in what they're creating because they don't want to actively and actually engage with whatever they're working with. They don't want, as trendy and fashionable as being a nerd or being into anime is, at the end of the day, they don't really want anything more than just the social credit, I guess, or not even credit, but like social clout you get from claiming you're a nerd by saying, tee, I like Star Wars stuff. Like that's all they really care about. They care about the fashion statement. And because they care about it as fashion and not an actual thing, that's why we just get all these hollowed out shells of stuff that it has all the right set dressing. There's, Echo Show, there's Kingpin, there's Daredevil, there's Echo, there's action. You've got all the right parts, but you've put it together in a way that just sucks because you're AI. You're not putting anything together. But I think a big reason for the fact that they want to take not AI from us, but they want to take all these properties from us and they want to destroy everything is our next topic du jour. Cider, what have we got on deck?
It's Hollywood's war on men and their audience.
Yes. So in case you guys didn't read this article, it's one of our, he's all right. He's a cool guy, and I only say that, I'm only saying that in public. But yeah, in case you guys didn't check it out already, Jacob put up this article yesterday. It has been blowing up. It's been one of our best performers lately. So I will let him take it away. Take it away. Which way? That way.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so pretty much the rundown that I gave a few days ago. So after watching 107 films in 2023, I noticed there was a pattern with this year's movies, which is a similar pattern that we've seen over the last several years. And it really got started when earlier, like 6 months ago, I did the article about the 10 most misandrous films of the Me Too era, which is like literally just films in just the last 5 years. And it's just a recurring theme over and over and over again that men are bad and men are stupid and they're abusers and they're rapists and they're really, really horrible. And the only way for a woman to actually save herself from men is to completely distance herself from men altogether. And that's literally the theme of every single film here. So I just gave, like I said, a quick succession here of these movies that you've seen here where the portrayal is always the same. There's always some woman giving a diatribe about how awful men are and how women have to do everything about men, and then somehow they don't win a Golden nomination. Who knows about that? But that's a topic for another day. But like I said, you can look at films like, Barbie. You can look at a film like, The Color Purple, which is a film that we've been talking about a lot over the last couple months.
Boy.
Man, did you get a chance to watch that one yet?
No, not yet. I say oh boy because I know everything you said about it, and I'm just like, oh boy, I know, like, whoo.
Yeah, so like this is a perfect example. This was literally misery porn that was released during Christmas of all days. They thought this would be a good film to go take your family to go see, and it's 2.5 hours of this woman just getting abused by like literally every man like in her life. Like there is absolutely no redeemable men in this film. Her father, her biological father, gave her away like almost immediately, and then took her legal guardian was an abuser as well. So then he died being a complete dirtbag. Then she marries some guy who basically beats her for like 40 years or some weird thing like that. And then like the only, like honestly, the probably the best portrayal dude in this entire film is portrayed as a complete and utter coward. And this is what you get here for 2.5 hours. And the theme is that for black women specifically, you cannot let a man have any control over your life whatsoever, especially if you're your husband, and then you really can't let that person control you as well. And then all men are awful, so I don't know, maybe try being a lesbian for a little bit and see if that works out for you. And then it's like it sounds ridiculous when I say it the way I'm saying it, but that's literally what the 2.5 hours of this movie was.
When you said that, let's try it out being a lesbian for a minute, I was gonna make a joke like, of course, that like I'm sure that's how it ends, and then I remembered that's actually what happens in the movie. Like,
yeah. So this is I called it a propaganda film last night because it really is just a propaganda film.
Yeah,
this is the message that they want to push out to like young impressionable women, that this is the way to go. And now you're wondering why all of a sudden you got a bunch of like 30 to 40-year-old women on TikTok crying because they bought into this nonsense, and now they're realizing that this is all a lie, and that everything that they had put all of their faith into, their career, their ideology, is not paying off the way that it was. And it's like,
but baby Grogu.
Mm-hmm. But I spent all my money on porgs, and I never had one kid. This is just the sad reality of what Hollywood has become here. And like I said, it's not just this film. We saw it with Barbie. Like, you literally start off Barbie, the opening scene is like a bunch of little girls like violently smashing what was it, their like dolls, baby dolls, because it's like, oh, we have Barbie now, we don't have to pretend to be mothers anymore, we can be free and independent, so let's smash the patriarchy or some nonsense like that. And then a film like Poor Things, which is also getting a lot of award recognition right now, which is a film about a woman who plotted this film, not making any of this up. Woman dies because her husband is so terrible that the only route she sees is suicide. She dies. Some mad scientist dude aborts her baby, puts her baby's brain into her brain, making her essentially a 30-year-old baby child thing. And then she has to essentially grow up all over again. And in the course of growing up, she basically becomes a prostitute. And that's kind of her sexual exploitation and liberation, because every time we tell a story about how... like I said, not making any of this up. And of course, every story we get to, or it's like how a woman has to liberate herself from men, it's always her just becoming a whore. Like, it's always the thing we come back to. And then there was even like a weird plot point where it's like she's, after being a French whore, she goes back to where she came from, and now she's trying to find a man to, I guess, be completely okay with her weird sexual past.
See, that's not at all like real life now, is it?
Yeah, right.
No.
Whoever threw anything out there like that in real life, we just don't see it out there at all. But...
No, this is clearly a work of fiction.
Yeah, and this is the movie that's getting all the award. I mean, I think Emma Stone just won a Golden Globe for this one, where she's basically playing like a zombie child for like 2.5 hours, and there's a bunch of like weird, uncomfortable sex scenes that are just placed in there for artistic value, quote unquote.
Oh yes,
and artistic. Yeah, But the whole point here is that she's in a world full of men who just want to control her, and the only way that she can break away from these men is to do her own thing, which always comes back to, okay, let me screw as many people as I can until I no longer feel like it. Now I want to settle down. Now I'm at an age where, okay, I've had enough sex now. I need to find a good man. It's like, okay, good luck with that one.
That's like that's just validating what there are. Like, that's just a self-validation of their own behavior, right? Like, that's what it feels like to me. Oh, I don't want to get yelled at for this, so let's put it in the movie and say it's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody said earlier, just real quick, Haley Bailey is not getting good roles. It's like, no, not well.
No, not really. That's the Disney curse. It's like you get that one big shot over at Disney, and then nothing happens with your career. Look at Daisy. Mm-hmm. Look at pretty much anyone from the sequel trilogy, right? Yeah. It's not great. Go ahead.
But I have a saying that I keep going back to. It's like, once is a coincidence, twice is a pattern, and 3 times is an agenda. And like I said, you've seen this so many times with Hollywood movies where they're all saying the exact same message. Like, maybe if you're just there and you just turn your brain off and you just consume and you're not really questioning like what the movie's actually trying to say, it's like, you're like, oh, you're looking a little bit too much into this. I haven't been able to do that for like the last 8 years. I can't just turn my brain off and pretend like I'm not seeing the patterns, even though seeing patterns is bad now. You're not supposed to do that, but
right, yeah,
dangerous for your health.
Yeah,
even though that helped us get here,
especially if you find patterns against the Clintons, it's very dangerous for your health. That's
oh no!
But no, let me
to us.
Yeah, all right. I mean, think about it. Charlie's Angels, that Charlie's Angels remake that came out, The Woman King. What other big movies? Don't Worry, Darling. We saw this last year.
Oh
with that film.
gosh, yeah.
The Black Christmas remake. We saw this with, like I said, Barbie. That really awful Daisy Ridley movie, that Chaos Walking, about the being on the planet where the women can hear the men's thoughts and the men couldn't take it, so the men just decided they were going to kill all the women. And then I was like, well, then who's going to like procreate if you just kill all the? That doesn't even make any sense. But whatever.
Don't break the narrative.
They'll lay eggs, Jacob. They'll lay eggs.
Life finds a way.
Then they'll just realize, oh, we killed all the women, so now we have no choice but to have sex with each other and then die out as a species because we're stupid.
Welcome to Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna say Floribama, but you're pretty close there. So. But yeah,
Fort Lauderdale is the gay capital of the world. I don't know if you're aware of that.
I mean, I'm in Atlanta. I mean, it feels like this is the gay capital of the world. So
different kind of gay though.
Yeah,
Lacan gay.
Wakanda gay.
Gay Conda. There we go. Gay Conda.
Yeah.
When the T.I. say this is Wakanda, and then just like walked off, like he really said something like absolutely profound and like just say the stupidest thing.
People are like, damn, he's right. This is like that fictional place that runs on alien technology and in no way is based in reality.
This is definitely like that fictional African country that was created by two Jews in the 1960s.
The only way to find Atlanta is to walk into a sheep field and just keep feeling around for the force field. And then you like arrive in Atlanta when you walk through the force field. Great.
Yeah, so and then you look ahead at some of the movies that we got coming out like this year. This is only going to continue. I'm pretty sure we've all seen Furiosa. That film's coming out. I know we got a female John Wick spinoff coming out later this year. There's probably a few others that I can't think of off the top of my head for 2024 because I'm just, I don't know, not too excited about what we have coming out down the pike right now. But like I said, this is what Hollywood is hammering down to people. And what I would say to this is that propaganda in Hollywood is nothing new. I mean, put it this way. If you guys saw that film Babylon that came out, I think it was like last year or the 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, that was pretty much just showing you like just how Hollywood has been degenerate since at least the 1920s. So nothing really has changed, but I think for many, many years, people just haven't really been paying attention to what exactly they've been consuming. Everyone was just asleep at the wheel, especially, the baby boomers. Thanks, guys. And as a result of this is where we are now. I think it's part of the fact that people are more awake to what's going on at the moment. And also to the fact that, look, you can't fall asleep at the wheel anymore. Like this stuff is so in your face that you can't pretend like it doesn't exist. So,
and that's what I was going to get at is like, over time, because you brought up that point about like, oh, turn your brain off, just watch the movie, but now it's hard to. And like what leapt to me is like, yeah, when you used to be able to do that, such messaging or whatever was either subtle or it was actually explored. You didn't have to agree with it, but you couldn't argue that it was like poorly written or whatever, right? Now, with all of these fan fiction writers writing to their own crowd of seal clappers, it's the same thing as, oh, we make a tweet out here, yeah, screw you, man, all men are awful, 40 million likes. Like that's the same mentality that they're operating on. So now instead it's all in your face because they need you to go, yeah, that's right, and then they need you to share it on social media and they need you to make a gif out of it so that message can be so easily communicated. And that's why everything is so in your face, like, this guy is dumb.
But we could not let the Nashville school shooters manifesto out because of the damage it would cause to the American dialogue.
Or we can't talk about the other one that happened. I don't even know where that one was, but the one that just like wiped out or like fell off the face of the map.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know where it was, but it happened.
Even the agenda is clear now of like mass tragedies, because it's like, okay, if we don't hear about a tragedy after 24 hours, then we know that there's something involved in this story that the media doesn't like, and that's why we're not talking about it anymore. Like this is how almost calculated and like obvious their agenda is, even to like the way that they cover news. Like this is how far we've gotten. And just a quick little sidebar here, I'm looking at this picture. I don't know about you guys, but this picture actually gets more cringe the more that you look at it. it somehow gets worse because, like I said, you have like Gwyneth Paltrow here in Iron Man suit. Like, why is she even here? Like, she hasn't been a superhero in like 15 years. It's like, why is she all of a sudden in a suit here? You have like lesbian buzz cut Brie Larson here. You have Shuri here looking like look like starving Marvin from like
yeah. Dude, she's so tiny. But don't worry, she's in the middle of the fight with her blaster things.
Mm-hmm.
When you watch it, like I know this is such an obvious statement, but it's like it is worse when you watch it because you just see all of it in motion and you're just like stop. I know what the next 10 seconds are going to be, and it's going to be the most painful experience of this movie.
Thanos just like ran in and like Roman Reigns punched them all at the same time.
At least he did it. At least he did it to Captain Marvel. Pulled out the stone and knocked her in the face.
Even though that scene never made any sense to me either. It's like, why does he have to pull out the stone first?
No, it doesn't make
it's already on the glove.
Yeah,
it's like,
it should have just like charged over to his other hand and he should have just like punched with it. Yeah, it didn't make any sense.
So this is the thing that Eccentric Banana points out is they all look constipated. And I was like, he's got a point. Because like at any minute you expect the director to go, cut, and then something like that to rain out over there, and then
it's like it used to be. It used to be the vagina It used to be the vagina monologues. Now it's just like the Crohn disease monologues.
The Crohn. Oh my gosh, that's pretty good. I wish there was a snappier name for that, but that is freaking good.
the Crohn's monologue. The underboob sweat monologues at these point. Look at these.
The under sweats.
Yeah, everybody.
No, it's
the superhero suit thing, right? The
birthing person monologues.
Yeah, the birthing person monologues. But everybody thinks these suits are hot and cool. Like, oh yeah, they look so sexy and cool in their head to toe pleather. You are sealing a human body inside of the equivalent of a plastic trash bag.
Yeah, right. That's exactly what I was gonna say. The trash bag.
At no point is that going to be a pleasant experience to interact with in a sensual manner. Okay, I'm just letting you in on a secret. Lady folk sweat, and sometimes they stink. Sometimes, and sometimes that's not fun. So
Mantis is probably the most comfortable and like attractive one there because she has real clothes on.
Right, well, she's ventilated for.
Yeah. That's
she's got a
term.
skirt. She's wearing shorts on, but she's got a skirt. But like Wonder Woman in her corset. And her red, white, and blue pantaloons. She was a well-ventilated superhero. They understood what putting a woman head to toe in spandex was going to do to her. So
you
just can't do that anymore.
You just reminded me of another article I wrote a while back ago about Elizabeth Olsen. This is even before she did like these Avengers movies.
Yeah.
She was complaining about how revealing her costume was in Age of Ultron, and you look at the costume, there's really like nothing wrong with it, like at all. But it was far more covered up than like her
Civil War costume.
Yeah, her comic.
And the comic book. Yeah, and the comic book. Yeah.
Yeah, she was like essentially like complaining. It's like, yeah, I didn't like the fact that my costume was like so revealing. It's like, what are you even talking about? It's like, yeah, this is what she was literally complaining about wearing. I just want to pop this up real quick. This is what bothered Elizabeth Olsen. This whole getup right here. It's like you're already kind of covered up head to toe. It's like, sure, there's a little bit of cleavage, but I mean, it's like barely. You would have to point it out for anyone to be like, oh, it's there. No, you're muted there.
Yeah, this is not the suit you take the fight to. Like, you know what I mean? There's so many other costume. I can't even think of one in modern times though. Like Wonder Woman was probably the best one. Like Linda Carter. Does Gal? Wait, what does Gal wear? Oh, I guess she wears like a skirt. Okay, Gal wears like a skirt. But yeah, this is not really anything to whine about, but she did.
Yep, and like I said, this is like the costumes that she wears like in the comics. So I mean, they could have made you wear like one of these if you were really like offended by the costume that made you wear for Civil War. I think it was a pretty solid touch up. I mean, like I said, it could have been worse. It could have been far worse. So like, what do you want?
They want their fan fiction written specifically for them. There can't be anything against anything they believe in, right?
Yeah.
But there's something Leslie brought up here where Leslie said women don't even show up for these Miss Industry movies except for Barbie, and many of them hated it afterwards. And that sort of goes back to that whole, writing to your tiny little echo chamber concept, which is most women, 98% of women, 99% of women out there do not hate men. Like, they don't want them gone. They don't think they should be eliminated. It's a very small portion of people who think like that. So when you write for them, yeah, go ahead.
Even a step further than that, remember there was a story that was confirmed today. It's been out for a while, but a story that confirmed today got Gal Gadot was originally supposed to be Barbie in the film, and she turned it down. And I'm pretty sure she turned it down because she read the script. And I don't know if you guys remember the old Ezra Miller video, but Gal Gadot is not all in on this whole man-hating narrative that they've been trying to like throw her into over the last several years. Like, if I'm not mistaken,
they tried.
I think she has a couple of sons, so it's like, why would I want to promote something that's going to say that men and boys are bad? It's like, well, I'm raising boys. It's like, no, that's not what I'm going to do.
Right. And like that, good on her for actually, doing that and not just taking the role or whatever. But to Leslie's point, that's exactly it, Leslie, is that because most women don't feel that way and they don't think that way, when they go see these movies, they go, what the hell was that? Just like the rest of us do, right? Everybody goes, what the hell was that? And Barbie was the exception to Barbie, is that none of that was in the marketing, right? The marketing very much focused on girl power or like celebrating being a girl, but not like misinjury. And then you got that in the film, and it just all went to crap. What do we got here, Cider?
So I asked the AI to help me develop a Elizabeth Olsen costume that wasn't sexualized, and it came up with a malevolent refrigerator.
Oh, so, don't tell Gail Simone you literally fridged the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. So there you go.
I hate to see what would be the result if you told them to make a costume that was even more sexualized.
That's true. I'm not sure Midjourney's allowed to do that, but I can find.
That's what I was gonna say. What is that like stupid message that all the AI spit back out where it's like, I'm sorry, as an AI, I'm programmed not to do that. It's something, whatever.
If Midjourney's about to generate porn on accident, right? It'll say like, I'm sorry, the result I'm about to produce does not fit the terms of service. I cannot finish rendering what I was about to do.
Wait, so was this like a Liu Kang fatality? Because it looks like that the refrigerator just came out of the sky and crushed you.
Well, I'm just saying that's how it is. And speaking of fatalities, though, the star of tonight's evening, Echo, came to us, and we all regret that, like a case of the clap.
Oh
Echo
man,
mania, baby.
Just dovetails into pretty much everything we're saying tonight. Disney's inability to manage their properties, the lack of excitement in all of these IPs, the anti-male agenda. That doesn't sound right. What campaign? That's the word I was looking for. Like, all of that is sort of summed up in this show. So yes, the article Cider has up now. This was earlier this month. It was a little under a week ago, obviously January 4th. And so that's about a week ahead of Echo's release. Because Echo, if you don't know, is all 5 episodes out right now. Dropped yesterday at like 7 p.m. Pacific time. Like, they don't want this thing. Like, there's no, like, they just want it off their hands. So a week ago, you had the director of the series. Her name's Sydney Freeland. She went out and she spoke to, I believe it was TV Line, just about what's coming up, what the show is, yada, 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 yada. Basic sort of interview. There wasn't a lot there except for 2 things. And the one I focused, so they're not both in this article because I didn't just want to wholesale steal the entire thing from TV Line. So I left a second bit out. But basically, one of the big things the director was talking about was, oh, don't worry, everyone. We are going to have a lot of, like, there are going to be cameos from the Marvel Cinematic Universe in our show, which, just like a quick point, is that screams desperation to me. That's all they have now. This is literally what they did with the Marvels. Remember? Come see our post-credit scene, X-Men. Whoa.
It's not even what they've done with the Marvels. This is essentially what they've been doing since at least, let's say Age of Ultron, where it's basically been like, hey, there's that character from that other movie that you guys watch. Aren't you excited? It's like, hey, it's that other character from that movie you watch. Please clap. It's like
please clap.
It's like when Captain America like showed up in what was it Infinity War, and everyone went insane, and people act like this was like the 10th time they've seen him in like the last 4 years.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. No, that's 100% what it is. And then to again loop this all back together. If you all remember last week, one of probably the biggest chunk of our show was when Cider and Jacob and we broke down that Echo fight scene. Right, there was a small preview played on New Year's Eve over in Britain from Disney UK. It was about probably 30 seconds, maybe a minute long. And if you guys don't remember, it is a small sort of one shot, or tries to be one shot scene of Echo fighting against Daredevil. It was in like a school gym. There were chain link fences and guns, and it was just really weird. And, as we went through last week, it was not shot very well, not made very well, just an all around mess. Well, a couple months ago, let me rephrase that. Up until today, or up until the show's release, the director of the show was saying, not only are we getting cameos and everything, but Daredevil is going to be in the show. The show is about, or like the fight is about 5 to 6 minutes long. Like he's there significantly for this show. The show dropped. He's apparently only in it for 90 seconds. And it is that entire scene we watched. There's maybe like 2 or 4 seconds at the beginning and end that were cut off by Disney. But everything we saw last week is what happens with Daredevil. And that is just insane to me. Like that's where we're at, where come see our cameos, come see all of this stuff, and then watch us just absolutely waste it. Like just absolutely drop everything that every potential we have here. So that was basically the lead up to Echo. No interest. Try to drum it up by cameos. Try to drum it up by saying, "Oh yeah, Daredevil is going to play a significant part in this show," or not significant in the show, but in the story or whatever, and then not deliver. But because of all that, this show, and I don't have anything for Cider to pull up, but there are what am I trying to say here? The press, the reviewers, the deadlines, the IGNs, all of them, everybody who's gotten their hands on this show pretty much hates it. A lot of them speak in the nicer terms at, oh, there was potential, there was this, there was that, but a lot of it isn't looking good.
Here's the positive that they've been saying about the show. Oh, well, I mean, there was Native Americans in it, so I mean, and that's all they have. That's literally all they got.
So first off, yes, that is like the biggest positive I've been seeing thrown around is, oh, we got representation. And then I've also seen people like the defenders of this show and like neoliberals have latched onto that point so hard that they're using it as like a weapon against people. Cause I don't know if anybody in the chat knows, but obviously Lorena Creole, she's been on our show a couple times. She's a friend of the channel of some of us, but she reviewed the show. She watched it all last night, and her takeaway was like, yeah, it's really bad, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to Native Americans, it's even more offensive because they just portray them as the victims. They don't portray them as anything more than victims.
Well, Echo's all the victims.
Right. She's just like Rey was all the Jedi. Echo is all of the victims.
All of them.
And so they've been jumping down her throat for that. So all that to say, like, that's really all it has going for it, even in the like among the audience it was intended for. But as Cider brought up, so this is its current Rotten Tomato standing: 72% critic rating, 72% average audience score. The audience score there probably requires a little more delving into, because there are, courtesy of Lorena, I have seen that there are a bunch that were just thrown in there, keyboard smashes, bot things, just obvious, things like that. But when it comes to the critic score, this is where Rotten Tomatoes deception is happening. Because if you guys don't know, the way Rotten Tomatoes does their movies, or does their fresh or not fresh certification, is, what did you think of the movie? Did you think it was mostly okay? Then that's a positive. That's a fresh movie. If the middle is 5, if you gave it a 5.1, that's a fresh movie. If you gave it a 4.9, that's a rotten movie. Like, that's literally how they go about that. So as like, we can probably go down, Cider, and see what everybody's saying, but when you see like this fresh icon, it does not line up with sort of everybody's response. And let's see. Eccentric asks, I think you just need to click on it or on the number on the 72. Is this the shortest Marvel series they've done? What? They're not even showing the actual reviews? Wait, what happened? That can't be right. So
they must be fortifying their reviews right now. That's why you can't see it.
I think so. I think we're seeing that in real time because that's weird. No critics, none of that bar that they always have, like the 5-star, 1-star, 4-star, 3-star. Whoa. And it's not listed either. That's crazy. So I can't even tell you guys now. Like I can't even review with you all what critics are saying because they're not showing you what critics are saying. Obviously
I'm sorry, I'm not gonna can't see anything.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like I was just about to say, like I know of some examples. I'm not gonna make Cider go look for all of them because I don't have them on hand. But I think you know near universally what people have been saying is that this show doesn't need to exist. It doesn't have a purpose in existing, and it kind of just destroys all the characters that it comes in contact with.
For some reason,
weird.
Not showing
there
up
it is
on the other page, but here we go. Randy Myers is here.
Look at that. San Jose Mercury News. Randy saying,
sorry.
No, it's okay. It happens. So Randy over here, this is sort of what we're talking about. A window into American Indian culture and heritage while telling a brisk, exciting mystery that steers Disney Plus to a new horizon of not only more complicated and edgier storytelling, but one told from an often overlooked perspective. Again, that's his highlight, is the fact that it has Native Americans in it.
And they're the victims.
And they are the victims. That's correct. I cannot forget that. But then over here we have variety. We have or go ahead, Jacob. Yeah.
Start with the one right below that one with the Observer. This just goes to show you how much they're stretching to say anything positive about this show. It's like just 5 episodes long and not tied to the MCU saga. This action thriller series may not be a masterpiece, but it's tight, fun, and nostalgia against Marvel fatigue. And so when your best thing you can say about this film, this series is that, well, it's not a masterpiece. It's like, then what you're saying is it's not very good. But that's really what you're saying. Like, they have to find like a way to dance around saying that this show sucks without being labeled a racist, a sexist, an ableist, or whatever other isnophobes that are associated with this character.
Because think of and this has been a problem, at least in the video game sphere, since like the early 2000s. But when it comes to reviewing video games, or nowadays when it comes to film, if your thing doesn't get like a 9 or a 10, it's garbage. Outlets don't award anything lower than 8, 9, or a 10. So so that's where you sort of like, what am I trying to say? So to Jacob's point, what Dylan's saying here is he is really this is a negative review. Like, this is a negative review from that demographic because this is the harshest thing they could say. But then,
damn it, Dylan.
Man, by the way, Josh told me like earlier this week that he's not a big fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I encourage everybody to just keep sending him clips from Batman and Robin or Batman Forever, because that's what
everybody chill.
Do you not kill the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
You know what killed the dinosaurs? You know what killed the dinosaurs? Me.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they should have said. Me.
No, for the longest time, I confused the 2 different quotes, because there's that joke in that movie, and then in Futurama there's a joke where Fry goes to like the big brain that knows everything and has existed forever, and he asks him all these questions, and he asks the brain, he goes, what killed the dinosaurs? And the brain goes, me. And I've always confused those two, to the point where I was at a party with a bunch of people and somebody referenced that line, like, do you know what killed the Ice Age? And I just super like proud or like confidently just belted out, me. And then silence, just people going, what the hell are you talking about? Like, what did you going, like,
why did you kill the dinosaurs, Spencer?
Yeah.
Such majestic creatures. Why?
You didn't think about dino rights. But
then, dino lefts.
All right, I'm ending the stream. No. But more to our point, here's variety, shilliest of shills from Aramai Tinubu. I really apologize if I'm getting that wrong, but she says, while Echo is beautifully filmed, compressing it down to a 2-hour event and cutting away many redundant displays may have increased the emotional impact for viewers. Like, again, negative review in the nicest way possible. There is nothing here that people are gripping onto. Eccentric banana. Yeah, it's not the Truma. Matthew Gaudet weighs in. Just making your lead female and putting her in front of a camera isn't a movie. You need to have character progression and motivations. But that's the thing. In the fan fiction mindset of these writers, of the people in charge of our franchises nowadays, that is a movie. That's your story, is going, see this person? Here's how they got their haircut. Here's how they got their name. Like, I always point to the fact that that's exactly what Solo was. Like, Solo was Star Wars story. You know, here's Han Solo. Here's his gun. Here's his blaster. Here's his ship. Here's his best friend. What was the story? What did I get out of that except for like a Wikipedia rundown of his?
You found out that his name is Solo because
stupid.
he was Solo.
Are you Solo? You are Solo. Get it? No, gosh, it's such a it's
That's
such
what
a
we
like
did to our Reverend Rogue.
And then oh man, what was I gonna say off of that? But yeah, so but like D&D, the Game of Thrones guys, the guys that were gonna have the, like, I mentioned it earlier, but they came out and they were talking about what their Star Wars project was going to be. And according to them, they straight up said, you know, oh, we were going to explore the beginning of the Jedi Order. We were going to see how they got started. We were going to see the first lightsaber. And I'm just like, guys, that's not a story. Just showing something is not a story. Like, do something with it.
Now I want Arnold Schwarzenegger to be a Jedi, like blacksmith. The guy that makes the Jedi casings, like this lightsaber casing.
Oh, for the, the hilts?
Right, so he's got like a big hammer and his big dumb accent.
Yeah.
He's like, here's your lightsaber.
Well,
you must listen to the Force.
Can you prop up that Rotten Tomatoes thing back up just real quick?
Oh yeah, sure. No
before
problem.
we sign off here, because like I said, this is me. You can say that I'm just looking too deep into it. Okay, this is me like reading in between the lines. These are all positive Rotten Tomato reviews. So these are all reviews seemingly saying that, oh, the show is great, and this is okay. This is here, but it's the one on the top right here. The first sentence is, though inconsistently paced and lacking in character development. This is how you start off a positive review, saying that the show is terribly paced for a 5-episode series and it lacks character development. That's what you lead with a positive review. And he says,
like that, well, that was the review I was thinking of. Like, that was the one I saw earlier where they said it was poorly paced. And I'm just like, oh, like, ouch, 5 episodes.
The one right below that one from Forbes says, all told, Echo is fine, but I had this lingering sense about a story about a criminal on the run fleeing the mob, returning to her roots in a reservation where all the superhero stuff would have been a better story. So what you're saying is that the story actually sucked. That's what you're really saying.
And then the one on the left, Maya moves like a molten mass of rage until her family helps her temper herself into a weapon only she can wield. But without emotional range, your attention might falter at times. But maybe that's a plot for season 2. Like, that is what they count as a positive review. Cider, what's that one right under Forbes? That one looks good, but for some reason he calls it a movie. Is that? Oh, because they translated it wrong. I don't even know if that's actually related to Echo.
I think the one below this one. It's like the only thing more interesting than Statham in this movie is Kurt Warner.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
With Echo,
where'd that come from?
I like this Wanma Paris. They just leave reviews for other movies on stuff that sucks. So people are like, oh hey, that doesn't sound so bad. I'm gonna go watch that instead of whatever Echo is. Yeah, because I like this tactic. This is good.
This is guerrilla marketing, everyone.
Ben had said whoever writes a negative review of Echo is going to get death threats.
Well, here's a 3-star at the top there.
Or here we are in actual fans. Let's see.
The best thing about writing negative reviews is that the fan base will never hear it. So there you go.
Yep, there you go.
But yeah, look at all of this stuff. Like, so this is sort of the comparison I was talking about, right? Look at all these negative ones. You know, I watched all 5 episodes of the new Echo series. The show did not live up to what was promised. I've watched all of Daredevil and Hawkeye, but it's been a while. Watching the first episode of this new series, I need to be reminded of the past. Like, these are people criticize. These are the criticisms. These are the ones that are actually written out that you can tell people watched it. Then you've got things.
Look at this one.
Great and better
Kingpin
one.
is the absolute only reason to check this out. It's a snooze fest, but there's more action in a single episode of Bluey than the entire season of Echo. Oh my god! From the top rope, man, comes Will A. The elbow, man.
That was a RVD 5-star frog splash right there.
Oh dude, my gosh, eliminated.
I'm taking a screenshot of that right now. That's like my background when we do Jacob's stream. That's incredible.
Oh wow. There's more action in an episode of Bluey than the entire season of Echo. Wow.
To that point, actually, that I think that's actually a really good lead into like our ending point on this topic and the stream. But do you know, Cider Jacob, how this series ends? Do you know how it actually reaches its conclusion?
I haven't yet, but you can go ahead and spoil it now. It's 5 episodes. Who cares?
Yeah, no, I knew you wouldn't care. I knew you wouldn't care. I just wanted to know if you knew. And yes, so here comes a spoiler for Echo. If you care, I'm giving you 5 seconds to leave the stream. Come back in 30, whatever. I don't care. But mostly I don't care because why are you excited for Echo? Why do you care about Echo spoilers? Anyway, so yeah, exactly. So the end of the series ends with Echo confronting Kingpin, and rather than a fight, rather than anything, remember how we saw him brawl with Daredevil and everything, and how we saw him take arrows to the chest? Instead of any of that, she basically Vulcan mind melts him into crying and like realizing his crimes. She literally does like, all my ancestors, lend me your power, and she grabs, like, she touches him on the head, and he does like the mind thing, and I guess it's like a penance stare. It makes him regret everything he did, and that's how it ends. He doesn't die. He just leaves. He just goes, "Oh, I'm sad now. Okay, bye."
Oh, you forgot the after credits scenes, Jacob.
Oh, I did forget the after credits.
Yeah, you forgot the after credits scene. Yeah, a lot of people didn't catch that. They just blew Echo the fuck up. That's it.
Mm-hmm. And this is why we were so optimistic earlier. Disney is changing. Can't you see? They actually care about us now. Gosh, like that would be a better ending for Echo than whatever we probably end on. Like sad Kingpin and now Native American superhero again, which is she's just a carbon copy of the hero they introduced in What If. Like they have the exact same powers. They're so desperate. Like that was sort of my biggest take. That was what I wanted. Did I label that in the stream title? But like Star Wars desperately banks on Mando. But that's sort of just what I feel about everything that Disney announces these days. Or like, here's this desperate. Here's this desperate. Here's this super desperate. And like the again, I'm so hung up on Kate's Medici's thing, because that's finally the one thing I can point to go, that is what makes all like sense about all this. Because all of the lost profits, all of the lost like reputation, I don't know what other reason you would keep going for it unless you were being, writing BlackRock fan fiction. That's seriously all I kind of walk away from this with. Let's see. Before we close out, let's see what some of you guys are saying about everything. Leslie says, don't get me started on Solo. That we could all probably talk about that movie for years upon years upon years. Let's see. T-Rex says liberals think dinos should have survived because they don't like fossil fuels.
That's coming from T-Rex 007. Okay, so there's a foremost expert.
He's an insider. Let's see. We had Banana says this is like if Pocahontas became a supervillain. Yes and no. Like, I feel like that does a disservice to Pocahontas because she has an actual character. Echo doesn't have anything to her existence. Like, okay, this is probably like the sexist, like the most sexist way I could probably go about making my point. But earlier when we were talking about the constipation of all the female Avengers in that final battle, my first thought went to the fact that she, Alquana Cox, or however you say her name, Alquana Cox, that's how they make her look. They make Echo like, I feel like that's the direction, like be frumpy, be mad all the time. And she just looks like frumpy, not fun. Like, I don't know. It just is weird. But then you see real pictures of her and she's like a genuinely gorgeous woman. Like, she's really pretty. When she smiles, it's like sunshine. So I have no idea what the hell is going on over there.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
I was waiting for that one. We hadn't had it tonight. Let's see. What else do we have? Matthew's still on. Let's see. I think basing Han on Chris Pine Kirk was a terrible decision as well. Harrison should have been the basis. I mean, there's so much there that we could unpack, just sort of like Leslie was saying, from Chris Pine inspiration to the mix up of like creative teams 3/4 of the way through the movie. It's just, there was nothing that was ever going to come of it that was going to be positive. Also, biggest complaint, that movie is dark as hell. You cannot see anything. I always want to yell about that because my Lord. Yeah, hey, it's me in HD says, yeah, that Mayor Fisk tease was pathetic. Oh yeah, that he does go, oh, I'm going to start running for Mayor Fisk, you know, blah, blah, blah. Again, Marvel is doing this weird thing, or maybe not weird, but if you guys notice, there's a pattern where they are only adapting their like post 2014 Marvel Now stuff, even though they have swaths of crap that they could still pull from, you know, in the 90s, 80s, 70s, yada, yada, yada. I'm pretty sure it's because this is our stuff now. This is the Disney Marvel stuff. And there's probably some licensing agreement circular thing in there, but it's so transparent and it's so dumb. That's just all I had to say, because yeah, the Mayor Fisk thing was a Disney Marvel move. There's the rumor going around that the Eyes of Wakanda animated series will have a female Iron Fist. And we all know that was a big part of Jason Aaron's really bad Avengers run. So yeah, it's all insular. It's all awful. It's all bad. Let's see. Eccentric asks, who do you think is going to be the next character to destroy? Do you mean by the laser or by the entertainment companies? Because if it's by the laser, we'll just have to see what happens next week. If it's by the entertainment companies, Superman, probably. Like, that's probably like the biggest thing. Wolverine, Deadpool, maybe. Even though I have like a slight bit of hope for that. I don't know. What about you guys?
No.
Could be literally anybody.
Is there anyone left to destroy at this point? I mean, who are you so emotionally attached to in 2024 that they could even possibly destroy this character for you? Like, everyone's gone. Like,
that's what I'm about. Is that it doesn't matter what they do now. I have gotten a reputation inside of the circles I travel of being able to predict most of what they're going to do with their property, because I've just learned how they look at these things, the lens that they apply to them. And I'm not surprised when they come out and they got to get rid of Hugh Jackman. He's older than sin. So they're obviously going to bring in X-23, but the kick to her is she's going to be trans by Stryker. So they're going to pick up a boy off the streets, force him to be a girl to make him a more effective spy, and he's going to think that was a blessing.
If they don't do that, they're definitely going to lean into the allegory like really hard. Like,
they'll ram Laura and I forgot his name. Yeah, Wolverine's other son.
Dakin.
Yeah, Dakin. Together, Dakin, whatever his name is. They'll merge them together into one character, and that's what they'll do is they'll have the boy become the girl for Stryker. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're completely 100% right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Banana was saying entertainment company. Yeah. So those are our guesses for which character is coming next. Man, I know, like, Cider does
Herbie the Love Bug's gonna get trans.
No, not from Herbie to Himby. Look,
they're gonna trans him into a cyber.
I would be in for that. Or no, let me rephrase that. I would be in to see it happen because it would be hilarious just to see them. Yeah, try to do it. Let's see. They ruined Indiana Jones and James Bond. Who is left? That's exactly what Jacob's saying. Pretty much.
But a gay guy in Voltron.
Yeah. Wait, what? There's a gay guy in Voltron?
Yeah, the new Voltron Force. The leader is bisexual.
Oh, look at that!
Writer confirmed it a couple years ago.
Everywhere. Yep. But yeah, so again, I think to that point, like Jacob said, who's left? But if you ever hear of somebody you didn't think about getting, a new property or whatever, like for example, Electric Banana brings up a Popeye, right? If you hear a new Popeye project is coming, you probably know what's going to happen there. Just take a page out of Cider's book, look through the lens of. I have no idea what you said.
Olive oil will have a bigger dick.
Probably, or olive oil will be Bluto, and then we'll go with that level of story and messaging. Hey, it's me and HD says Wolvie also has a third son recently. He also has a second daughter. They don't really care about anything over there. They just go give him children, give him like 900 kids.
Well, at least somebody's having kids, I
guess. Look, Shinzo Abe is beaming down on Wolverine from heaven, saying thank you for completing my mission.
Oh yeah, there was that time where he was a samurai.
Yeah, they even ruined the turtles. Turtles are ruined. Again, we could probably find you. It's easier to say that there is no example we can point to of a character who hasn't been absolutely thrashed in the last, being generous, a decade, but being
Sailor Moon
5 years. All right, you won. You won. You won.
Yeah.
You won. All right, you won. Chat, is it cheating to go for Japanese properties? Tell me.
It's cheating. It's cheating to go for Japanese properties. It absolutely is. It's cheating as fuck.
Here comes the Netflix Sailor Moon adaptation. It's coming.
Yeah, you wait. Disney buys Sailor Moon next.
Well, I'm sure Cider knows this, but back in the 90s, Deke, the company who did the Dick? Sonic cartoons, Dick, yeah, exactly. They actually did a pilot episode of an American Sailor Moon, and it was straight up like, they're all diverse. One of them's in a wheelchair. When she transforms, she stays in her wheelchair. Like, it was 100% like a blueprint for what they would do.
And she was not Sailor Retrograde.
She was she Sailor Pisces Rising or whatever those.
Yeah, it was. They did them after the Zodiac. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It was after the Zodiac. They changed it from the planets. That's right. I forgot all about that.
It was so bad.
It's really bad. There's some videos out there. It got uncovered like last 2 years. So definitely go see it if you guys are interested. But yeah, with that, I think we've gone through the biggest topics of the week, or the week thus far. We've talked Star Wars, we've talked Hollywood's bullcrap against man, and we've talked about Echo. So with that, I think it is time to start closing out the show. And as always, we'll kick it off by seeing what you guys have going on, starting with Jacob.
What we got coming up? So Friday, we're gonna be reviewing Mean Girls and The Beekeeper, which is the Jason Statham movie. That's what we're doing on Friday night. Monday on the Bible In show, I'm actually gonna be reviewing the Book of Clarence, because I actually did a takedown on the Nation of Islam this Monday. And yeah, like I said, a lot of people didn't know that's what the Nation of Islam teach people. And I was like, oh yeah, it's kind of an insane cult that has a lot of influence, sadly, to this day. So we'll talk about the movie, Book of Clarence. That's installed a lot in that. Then Tuesday, obviously, we're going to be doing the full Echo review. All 5 episodes of Echo will be reviewed on the Barroom podcast next Tuesday. And just for in case you guys didn't know, my site, Society Reviews, is back up. It was down for a couple of months. Kind of did a whole lot of retooling to the site, but it is back up and running now. So go check it out. All of our, essentially my reviews, my podcasts, retrospective editorials, everything in there. Everything I've done essentially over the last 8 years is all over there. So go check it out. So that's all I got coming up.
Definitely check it out. I get lost on it all the time because I just go through the archives because I like what you have to say. Like, I admit that. Cider, what have you got going on, my man?
Right here on Bounding Into Comics, tomorrow at 9:30 at night, you'll have on Eastern Standard Time, you'll have the Sky Talker Star Wars podcast between our own Stephen Kent and Matt Battaglia, as they tackle whatever's going on in Star Wars. That we have quite a few articles over on the Bounding Into Comics website for them to talk about tomorrow night. So feel free to stop by and tune in. We're also on X with this as well. So if you're not feeling YouTube and you're scrolling Twitter, X now, feel free to check us out over there as we beam live over just about everything we do live over there.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I've actually been seeing a lot more people commenting from the X side, Twitter side, whatever you want to call it these days. So all to say to that is cool. Like, it's cool. I'm excited to see it. That said, yeah, guys, as always, I want to thank you for, hanging out with us tonight, spending a couple hours talking about everything that's going wrong with pop culture. It's always a pleasure. It's the highlight of my Wednesdays. It's a highlight of my week. So thank you for stopping by. Hopefully we'll see you next week. Until then, if you want more up-to-date news on pop culture and everything that's going wrong in Hollywood, check out boundingintocomics.com. Obviously, I'm putting out articles every day. Jake was putting out reviews every day. We've got Josh. We've got Nerdigans. Everything is flowing over there. So there's always something happening. Check it out. Check us out on Twitter, YouTube, all that fun stuff. As Cider said, on our YouTube channel, he is our MC, our master creator, if you will. So check out Sky Talker. Also check out his daily uploads. He's doing daily news size update or bite-sized daily updates on the biggest news stories of the day. So definitely check that out. And then on Mondays, Jacob and Cider have the Monday Rewind, where they every Monday, Bounding Into Comics channel, they go back and sort of review the news we might not have talked about over the weekend break. So it's definitely a good show. I definitely enjoy my time watching it, and I definitely recommend everybody check it out. As for me personally, you can find me on Twitter at Kabuto Writer Mav. You can also find me on YouTube at Studio Kabuto, where every Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific time, I host The Good, the Mad, the Ugly, which is a show where we take a moment to sort of get into the more weeby topics that we might not normally get to around in the sphere. So tokusatsu, anime, video games, all that fun stuff. Come check it out. Come listen to me bitch about Spider-Man. It's like 90% of the show. And yeah, until then, and then of course, same bat time, same bat channel, right back here for another episode of 01. And yeah, I think with that, we're all ready to sign off.
Later.
Take it easy, everyone.